Turn it. Hey, you got something playing in the background, man.
Yeah.
What was that screaming? What kind of stuff are you watching, man?
I just
torture or something like.
I just saw this video where a Muslim scholar guy is driving out the jinns of a woman, but the way he's doing it is he's standing there and has her head wrapped, in a hijab, tightened with a belt, and then pouring water on her.
That would be waterboarding, dude. Yeah,
he's waterboarding her.
Dude, that's crazy. He's waterboarding the jinn in her nose. Guys, you know how waterboarding works? You're not actually drowning someone, but if you put a cloth and got someone in like you're pouring water on it, then they're trying to breathe in, but the water's going and your brain registers it as you're drowning. So it feels like you're drowning. So wow.
That's the most insane thing I've seen in a while.
Anyway, you screwed up my TikTok. Time to rock. Good evening, good morning. I can't even do it now because everything has been derailed by this guy waterboarding Muslima.
Let's just shut it down and start anew and then go TikTok time to rock.
Oh, hey. So we're going to be talking about our good friend Scythe. You know, Scythe talk. He's responding. This was a while back, but not that far ago, a couple weeks ago now. But anyway, the debate with Sam and Jay on one side and Daniel. Who else was it? Who was Daniel's partner?
Ijaz.
Okay. So Scythe Talk is responding to Sam pointing out that Allah has body parts, or if they want to call them attributes, whenever they want to call them, but he has a foot and eyes and all these things. And anyway, Scythe is responding to that. And Scythe's video is just like, yes, Allah has a foot. And then the one who says he doesn't have a foot is a kafir. And I was like, oh, we gotta check this out. We gotta check this out. You gotta love Scythe and him being honest. Anyway, right before we went live, I was telling you about this video I just recorded.
Yes.
So, when was it? Yesterday morning, I posted a video, and it's some of the verses I used were verses where Allah refers to himself as plural. We did this, we did that. Anyway, for some reason, this is pretty normal in the Quran, but for some reason, just a ton of people in the comments were going, what is this we? Why is he talking about we? What's going on with we? And I'd made a video about this several years ago, but that was on my old channel, so that's one of the ones I took down. So anyway, I decided to remake a video explaining why Allah uses plural pronouns. Now, here's the thing, AP. Here's the thing. I was about to be completely nice in my video and just explain, and I even pulled up a bunch of videos of Muslims explaining why Allah uses the plural. They're saying it's the plural of majesty, but I'm going to let them explain why there's plural pronouns and let people say it. Anyway, long story short, they just had the Muhammad hijab versus William Lane Craig debate. And I'm sitting there, I'm about to write the intro for this video. You ready? I'm literally about to write the intro on this what was going to be a perfectly nice video explaining to people who are confused why Allah, according to Muslims, according to Dawah guys and Muslim scholars and so on, why Allah uses plural pronouns. Because he doesn't explain in the Quran. He just does it. He doesn't explain it. They have to explain it. So I was going to just make a video. Here are their explanations. That was it. And yet I go on X, and there's all these Muslims running their mouths about the Trinity. Ha ha, Christians so dumb. The Trinity it don't make sense. Ha ha, da 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 da. And then the intro just turns out a little different. The intro, I'm sitting, because guys, keep in mind, about to write the intro of a nice video. And then you guys muck. And then I change my video so that it's not as nice. And then what happens after I post this video? Then they're all going to claim, why aren't you nice and respectful when we make fun of your beliefs all day long? Anyway, I'll just read you my intro. It's probably about a.
It's okay if you mock our religion, but at least mock it respectfully.
Yes. Here's my new intro. This was as nice as I could get it after I decided to go in this direction. You ready?
Yes.
All right. Here's the intro to this video, ladies and gentlemen. This will be, when will this be out? This will be out. Part of me wants to release it on Monday, but I've got something else for Monday, so I'll probably release this like noon tomorrow. I'll probably take like 2 or 3 hours to edit, so I might I don't know, if any channel members are planning on being awake, I might just release it in a couple hours for channel members, and then it'll be up around noon tomorrow for everyone. Anyway, here's a little intro, short little intro. Ready?
You can send a message beforehand for your members saying, "Are you awake?"
Oh yeah, is anyone awake? If so, here you go.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Here we go. Here's a little intro. Again, this was not going to. In the Quran, Allah is absolutely obsessed with making sure everyone knows He's only one God. And yet, over and over again in the Quran, Allah refers to Himself using plural pronouns. We, our, us. Why would Allah use we, our, and us when He has no partner? Why would Allah confuse His followers and undermine Tawheed? In this video, we'll go through some examples of Allah's preferred pronouns in the Quran. Then we'll read a few comments about the confusion Allah has caused by misnumbering Himself. Then we'll hear from Muslim experts, including Zakir Naik, Numan Ali Khan, and Sheikh Asim al-Hakim, who explain why Allah identifies as plural. And finally, we'll see how Allah's transition from singular to plural points us to the Trinity. So that's what I mean. Once you start there, and then it ends up in the entire video. Like, was not even a thought of making fun about Allah identifying as plural and Him being, what's going to come up eventually, trans plural. Was not a thought of that. Until these guys just can't stop running their mouths. Oh, we make fun of everyone else, but you will be respectful to us. Not how this works, ladies and gentlemen. Not how this works. It's your rule in your Quran. Do not make fun of other people's beliefs if it's gonna go back to making fun of your beliefs. That's a command to you. I don't make your rules. I'm enforcing your rules from the great God Allah.
The Quran says, "I am Allah." Pronouns we, us.
Oh yeah. That's going in the thumbnail. I am Allah. Pronouns we, us. Oh boy. Oh gosh. Now I need to go record that video and say that in there somewhere. Preferred pronouns we, us.
I said something funny for the first time in my life.
That was pretty funny.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you'd be good at making videos. You'd be pretty good at making videos. All right, should we go ahead and
let's talk about Allah's body, Allah's beautiful body.
Just trying to think, is there anything else we need to point out before we jump into this video of Scythe Talk?
Allah's sexy body.
We do love Scythe Talk. We do love Scythe Talk. And it is important, guys. It is important. Keep in mind, you have differences of perspective among Muslims. You have the groups like the Salafis and so on who take passages about Allah's body parts literally. Now that's confusing to lots of people. Like, why don't you just take them as like metaphorical or something? Like, there are reasons they have to take them as literal. And Scythe is going to bring up at least one of them. Now, for some reason, he included video clips of couple little kids in here. I kind of skimmed through it. I didn't finish watching the video. I watched like half of it or something like that. And anyway, I tried to blur out kid. I don't know. I don't think I have to, but I prefer blurring out kids.
This is so weird. When we talk about Islam, in an Islamic context, you're talking about videos of kids. My mind is immediately like, oh, no. Yeah. And then I think, oh, okay.
Yeah. After responding to Sam's claims from the debate and agreeing with everything Sam said and saying, yes, you're a kafir if you do not agree with this. Then he says, and I will play a clip of kid who knows religion very well. And he plays a kid, and the kid just like repeating what he's clearly been forced to memorize. And apparently that's if you can make a kid memorize something, that's great proof to Scythe. Anyway, so he's got the videos of some kids in there. So I tried to blur them out. I may have missed something just in case, but I don't think it's a big deal since it's over on his channel anyway. All right, we're ready to jump into this video by Scythe Talk.
Of course, we are happy to talk about Allah's body parts. Of course, Allah has body parts. Allah is the best body, most beautiful body. I think about Allah all the time. Let's get physical.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. And we have Scythe Talk. And just remember, if you're not familiar with Scythe Talk, he believes that as long as he yells at the camera like this the entire time, you will agree with anything he says. That's how it works in his religion. All right, here we go.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hey, wait a minute. There are 10 super chats already? What the heck?
Wait,
all right, we'll go and watch it. We'll go.
This is the calmest opening of a Scythe video I've ever seen. What's happening?
Yeah, he normally screams right there. All right. All right. We'll watch his intro here, and then I'll get those jump on the super chats. Here we go.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we're going to have fun with the Christians who recently debated some Muslims regarding Tawheed versus Trinity. And
we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun there, Scythe. Anytime you want to have fun with us, making fun of your theology, that is time well spent in my book, bud.
we'll have this beautiful Muslim kid to refute all of their lies. We don't need our scholars to deal with them. Our Muslim kids are enough for these people. So inshallah, let's start.
I need to say something. Scythe. Your fellow believers, including one that you earlier depicted on the thumbnail, in the video, have really muddied the conversation and have really turned everything a little bit weird when it comes to kids. So I would advise, if you make videos that are not just for Muslims but also non-Muslims, as you do it, I would advise within the context of Dawah not to bring kids into it, not to refer to them as beautiful kids or this beautiful kid. It's a little bit weird. I know it's supposed to be normal, but your own apologists have made the whole situation a little bit weird, and it's quite uncomfortable, just so you know.
And, when you combine that with beautiful boys and the Muslim sources and Muhammad sucking on tongues and stuff like that, that's why I like blur out faces. Like, who knows what kind of creepy dudes are watching this from Islam. Yeah. Anyway. Pretty sad state of affairs when I have to blur Muslim viewers out from looking at little boys because of stuff that's going on. Anyway, creepy stuff.
Refuting all of their lies about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his attributes. So without wasting any time, let's watch the clips and come back.
That according to our friend here, this is his belief. Allah has, well, he wouldn't use the term body parts. I don't want to misrepresent him. Allah has a foot. He has a shin. He even has loins. And he has at least 2 eyes, if not more, and 2 right hands. Now, for the life of me, if Allah is the creator of the heavens and the earth, how does he exist as an embodied being without him dwelling in space? Because if he's atemporal and he's timeless, that means his God supposedly exists when there was no time, space, and place. But if you have a foot and you have a shin and you have 2 right hands, I don't know what happened to the left one, but we'll get into that. 2 right hands, at least 2 eyes. In fact, the Arabic says 3 or more, but we'll get into that. Then that means his God is an embodied being who is temporal and finite, which means that his God did not create all space or place and time, because there's a space that his body parts need to occupy in order for him to be his God. So the problem is actually worse for Daniel than for us. So he's going to have to explain, how is it that he's a polytheist, pagan, masquerading as a monotheist? Because what he just told you is not anchored in the Quran or the authentic Sunnah of Muhammad. So good luck in trying to defend your irrational Salafi anthropomorphism.
Did you?
We're going to watch that again, ladies and gentlemen, because Scythe didn't really make it clear what Sam's point was. Sam was pointing out that if you take at least these guys' version of Islam seriously, there are other things that are kind of eternal. So if Allah is an eternal God with body parts, as these guys would affirm, then he lives within space and time. right? And therefore, there needs to be a place. There's already a space. And so, in other words, if Allah is eternally a body, then there's space for Allah to move in. So Allah isn't the only thing. Space isn't created, right? Space doesn't have a beginning. So Sam is pointing out in context that that if Allah has actual body parts, as these guys would maintain, and as Scythe here clearly maintains, then that entails other things. There's space, there's time, all these things. Allah is not somehow beyond space and time and so on. So let's go back just so people understand the point, because as always, Scythe is going to completely miss the point, and he's even going to accuse Sam of being a hypocrite here, all while completely missing the point. But nothing shocking there. But anyway, listen to Sam's point once again, in the context of what he's actually arguing. If you say Allah has a body, then Allah's body exists somewhere. So there's space, there's other things. And so he's pointing out that there is more that is eternal than just Allah.
According to our friend here, this is his belief. Allah has, well, he wouldn't use the term body parts. I don't want to misrepresent him. Allah has a foot. He has a shin. He even has loins. And he has at least 2 eyes, if not more, and 2 right hands. Now, for the life of me, if Allah is the creator of the heavens and the earth, how does he exist as an embodied being without him dwelling in space? Because if he's atemporal and he's timeless, that means his God supposedly exists when there was no time, space, and place. But if you have a foot and you have a shin and you have 2 right hands, I don't know what happened to the left one, but we'll get into that. 2 right hands, at least 2 eyes. In fact, the Arabic says 3 or more, but we'll get into that. Then that means his God is an embodied being who is temporal and finite, which means that his God did not create all space or place and time, because there's a space that his body parts need to occupy in order for him to be his God. So the problem is actually worse for Daniel than for us. So he's going to have to explain, how is it that he's a polytheist, pagan, masquerading as a monotheist? Because what he just told you is not anchored in the Quran or the authentic Sunnah of Muhammad. So good luck in trying to defend your rational Salafi anthropomorphism.
Did you notice the contradiction? If you didn't catch it, let's listen again to what he said in...
Was not a contradiction, Scythe, only in your mind, because you... My goodness, let's just let him explain the contradiction.
The beginning, and how he contradicted himself at the end.
That according to our friend here, this is his belief. Allah has, well, he wouldn't use the term body parts. I don't want to misrepresent him. So good luck in trying to defend your rational Salafi anthropomorphism.
In the beginning, he said he would not misrepresent him and acknowledge that Daniel doesn't believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has body parts. And
no, that's not what he said. Yeah, he said you wouldn't call them that. Why? Because they'll call them things like attributes. They'll say the attribute of his hand and so on. So he's saying, okay, I say body parts. You wouldn't call them that, but it's a foot, it's 2 right hands and so on. So Sam says, okay, you wouldn't call them body parts. That's it. And then in the end says anthropomorphism, and Scythe, genius that he is, says that is a contradiction because you point out that he would call them something else. Okay, how's that a contradiction? Sam saying you don't call them body parts. So you say foot, 2 right hands, eyes, all these things, but you'll call them something like attributes or something like that. Okay, so what? We would call them body parts. But then he says, and your anthropomorphism in the end. You're contradicting because you said. Look at my goodness.
Why are you contradicting yourself?
What is this religion, man? All right, here we go. Just show what he says again. This is this great contradiction that he's exposed Sham Shaboon for.
In the beginning, he said he would not misrepresent him and acknowledge that Daniel doesn't believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has body parts.
No, Daniel does believe Allah has body parts. He just calls them something else. He calls them by their specific names, and then I'm assuming he would say attributes. That's not the same thing as saying, I'm not saying you're anthropomorphic, your God is anthropomorphic. So anyway.
And then he contradicted himself by claiming that he believes in an anthropomorphistic understanding of God. No honesty and no integrity. But before we refute this guy, let's
actually, Sam has total integrity and honesty there. It's just that you seem to be too stupid to understand what is being said. That's the problem. So, I don't know, to quickly think of a comparison. Let's say, for example, I say, or somebody in my position says, considering that you believe in a prophet, or let's say you follow a god. Let's say you follow a god who that communicates through a being that is very violent, that delivers the message in such a way that he comes and squeezes and basically beats and harasses the prophet, makes him pass out, and so on. This is what you believe in, and you describe him as a merciful angel. Whereas I say, I would not say that Scythe believes in a very demonic, or at least really messed up angel. I wouldn't say that because he wouldn't describe it that way. However, that's what he actually believes in. So I have not contradicted myself. I have established here that you would not define it that way. I, however, would, because that's clearly what we understand from the description of this angel. I hope this helps you get a little bit closer to what Sam Shamoun was talking about. But I would recommend just, I don't know, going to school and something like that.
Yeah. Going to school is haram. Hey, Dawah Logic here says,
mocking someone's accent is very Christian of you.
Dawah Logic. We're making fun of the idea how in Islam, all you have to do is yell at people like this all the time, and they think that makes it true. That sounds incredibly stupid to us. But as far as your priorities are going, you think us making fun of the way someone speaks in this way that somehow people are programmed to mindlessly accept as true, that's your problem, and not like your guys spreading child marriage and trying to convince people that child marriage and slaughtering apostates. Like, dude, anytime I look at what you guys complained about, yes, we're going to chop your heads off. Yes, we're going to rape your little girl. Yes, we're going to do all these. Oh my goodness, he's making fun of the way I'm saying things in this voice. Like your perfectly functioning moral compass is on exhibit full time. All right, back to Scythe, because his Dawah's going to be powerful, but he's going to. Man, I love this video.
Attributes he mentioned about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
See, he just called him that, the attributes. So that's all Sam was saying in the beginning. Was you wouldn't call them body parts.
Anthropomorphistic understanding of God, no honesty and no integrity. But before we refute this guy, let's check if the attributes.
By the way, AP, look at this. Look at the new. I don't know how long he's been doing this. I don't recall seeing this in a preview video, but he has this new thing where he keeps putting a picture like it's uncrumbling. He keeps using this. He's got one effect throughout the entire thing. He keeps having a picture of someone uncrumbling. Watch this. Ready? This is powerful, ladies and gentlemen. This is an upgrade. Scythe got some new editing software here. Here we go.
Himself by claiming that he believes in an anthropomorphistic understanding of God, no honesty and no integrity. But before we refute this guy, let's check if the attributes he mentioned about Allah subhanahu.
What's that?
It's actually kind of nice.
Yeah. It was okay. He just does it like 50 times per video now, and so we're about to see him do this over and over and over again.
I have a bigger problem with whatever he's wearing there. Anyway.
I wasn't even paying attention to that. Yeah, what is that?
What's going on there? I don't even get it.
It looked like a kimono. Wait, what are you doing wearing a kimono, man?
I am actually Japanese. You don't know this.
I identify as Japanese, but they had no men's garments in the kimono store, so I got women's kimono.
My name is Yakamoto. Something like that.
Are accurate or not, because before Muslims can go and debate these people about religious issues, they should first know what they are talking about.
I agree completely, Scythe. I agree completely. Before you guys go around and you're talking about learn what you believe, because here's the thing: again, you have Muslims who don't believe that Allah has these literal body parts, but you have all these people who are following like the Salafi touch and still don't know what they're affirming. And so it is very good to actually learn. But here we go. Back to Sam. I actually like even though he's kind of ruining the context a little bit, he is playing a fair amount of the clip here.
Allah has a foot.
Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a foot, and we are not shy to affirm it and believe in it. Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu reported that Allah's Apostle sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the hell would continue to say, "Is there anything more?" until Allah the Exalted and High would place His foot therein, and that would say, "Enough, enough by your honor," and some part of it would draw close to the other. And
everyone catch that? All he did, I don't even know what he's complaining about. The only complaint that he offers about Sam is that he says Sam contradicted himself by saying, you wouldn't call it body parts, so I don't want to misrepresent you, blah, 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 blah. And then he says anthropomorphic at the end of the clip. This is major contradiction. You see, you can't take them. Apart from that, he agrees with everything Sam says. Sam says, Allah has a foot. Yes, Allah has a foot. Here is the proof. So this entire video is, let me prove that he is correct in everything he says. He says he has a foot. Here is the proof. Sam says Allah has hands. Here is the proof. That's what he does this entire video. But it's actually good because he's putting the sources up on the screen. So let's just rewind slightly. Guys, get this point. All he's doing here, which is amazing because, again, it's, if you talk like this, people think you're making powerful refutation, even if he's just agreeing with and proving everything Sam says. Isn't that amazing, guys? That his followers are watching this will go, wow, listen to the way he's talking. He must be destroying Sam. And every single thing he's saying is, yes, Sam Shamoun is completely correct. He is completely correct. Why do you complain about it? Hang on. Let's back this up. Watch him agree completely with Sam Shamoun.
That's what I'm curious about. If he's actually going to refute what Sam Shamoun is saying here.
Yeah, I don't know because again, I didn't watch. I kept watching. Wait, he's just agreeing with everything Sam is saying and is proving it. So anyway, that's interesting. But yeah, I don't know if he is going to have some refutation at the end or something like that. But I mean, he's agreeing with the body parts. He's agreeing with the body parts theme. So he is agreeing with an embodied Allah. But let's go sit, watch him agree on the foot and pay attention on the foot because, again, guys, you'll have Muslims who don't, even Sunni Muslims who accept the sources, you'll have Sunni Muslims who don't interpret these as referring to literal body parts. Scythe's going to point out there's a reason for saying this is an actual foot, these are actual hands, things like that. All right, here we go.
should first know what they are talking about.
Allah has a foot.
Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a foot.
Sam Shamoun is 100% correct when he says Allah has a foot.
And we are not shy to affirm it and believe in it.
We are not shy to affirm that Sam Shamoun is 100% correct when he says that Allah has a foot. Indeed, this is true. Here we go.
Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu reported that Allah's Apostle sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the hell would continue to say, "Is there anything more?" until Allah the Exalted and High would place His foot therein, and that would say, "Enough, enough by your honor," and some part of it would draw close to the other.
So this is saying Allah's actually going to there's something that's going to happen until Allah puts His foot in the game. So they would, and they have a stronger case with certain things like Allah's hands and so on. But anyway, there's a reason they're saying this. Okay, if the foot's not a foot, what is it? What's this? If you want to say this is metaphorical, what does it represent? Like if it's pretty typical to say if God says I created this with my hands, you think hands is a metaphor for power or something like that. But there are reasons in the Muslim sources you can't take that as you could do whatever you want, but there's a reason Salafis do not take that as metaphorical. And there are reasons for all this. They're saying, okay, if these different things are figures of speech for something else, what are they? And they conclude that these passages make no sense unless this is talking about an actual foot, actual hands, and so on.
So Allah is going to have his big foot, his uncreated foot. And
his uncreated eternal foot.
And anybody who claims that the foot of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like our foot is a kafir, disbeliever. Just wait.
Did you catch that? Allah has a foot, yes. But if you say it is like our foot, he is a kafir.
So stupid.
Isn't that good to know? Isn't that good to know? So Allah has a foot. It's just not like our foot. Allah has a foot. just don't say it's like our foot. So you have to say Allah has a foot, and he's going to get pretty extreme in saying that you have to affirm these things. But if you want to say, oh, and it's just like my foot, then he's got a problem with you. Then Scythe Talk's going to have a problem. And you're a kafir. You got this so far, AP?
Yes.
Let's take a couple super chats real quick.
No.
And then we'll hear what's he do next. I don't know, hands or something like that. Fox McLeod says, do you know who's never late? Mike Winger. Well, it's good to do the opposite of what Mike Winger does. If you do the opposite of whatever Mike Winger does, you will be a success in life. They're killing the dogs. They're killing the dogs. No, they're eating. Oh, they're killing the dogs. So if he were talking about Muhammad and killing all the dogs, they're killing the dogs. Sir, there's no evidence of that. Look, it's all over their sources. It's all over their sources. They talk about killing the dogs because Gabriel didn't like him, a.k.a. Diha al-Kalbi. They're eating the Quran. Trump on D Wood and AP. They're eating the Quran. Sir, there's no... Look, I've seen it. I've seen the video. They're definitely eating the Quran. Menj is based for his correct interpretation.
Alhamdulillah. Of what?
What's that about? Yeah, what correct interpretation?
I have no idea. The funny thing is,
he just debated though. He just had a debate, him and Isa versus you, and God logic. So maybe he's talking about something from that debate, or maybe he thought this was Menj here.
I don't know what he means by that. Minj didn't literally. I don't know if we talked about this issue at all. We briefly did, but yeah, I don't remember exactly what he said on this stuff. But the funny thing is, so Scythe here is declaring that those who say that it is like our foot, that they are that they are disbelievers, that they are kafir. The funny thing is, it's like most of the Muslim world will say that it's not. Most of the Muslim world will not accept his definition of Allah's attributes and will contest Allah literally having body parts or attributes. They will contest his description of where Allah is. They will say it is forbidden to say Allah is above his throne, above the heavens, and so on. It's like the whole problem here with him saying, and whoever says this is a kafir, this is a tradition that goes back into Islamic history. Ibn Taymiyyah and his folk were very, very explicit on that kind of stuff. If you want to go down that path, you would declare that the majority of Muslims today are disbelievers. But people like Scythe will also then claim that these people who are Muslims and who don't acknowledge his form of Islam, who don't acknowledge his theology, his anthropomorphism, that they are Muslims, while also declaring that they are theologically not Muslims, that they are disbelievers. It is so stupid.
Yeah, and Brother Rashid points this out. He's like, oh, we hear about 2 billion Muslims in the world, or 1.6 or 1.8 or whatever, but this group says that group's not Muslim, and within this group, these guys say these guys aren't real Muslims. And he said eventually it comes down to the only Muslim is that particular Muslim in his mosque, and everyone else is not a Muslim.
The kafir.
Ibrahim Akil. He's ballless, just like Allah.
Ibrahim Akil was one of the most wanted on the FBI list. He had
is he on one of these cards?
$1 price. I don't think so. He was.
No, these are just guys. Huh? Okay.
Yeah, I have Hezbollah cards. Maybe he was on there, but he was.
You got the Hezbollah deck?
No, but I have some people from Hezbollah on here as well.
Oh, okay.
But that guy had $7 million on his head. I think the U.S. government was offering $7 million for information on Ibrahim Akil. Today, Israel officially announced and confirmed that they killed him in a strike on Lebanon. The guy was responsible for killings of Americans and others. So really, really big stuff. He was wanted in the U.S. in connection to his role in the 1983 bombings of the U.S. Embassy in Beirut, which killed 63 people, and of the U.S. Marine Corps barracks, which killed 241 U.S. personnel. He was today eliminated by the IDF. Alhamdulillah.
So where's my 7 million?
Very, very based.
By the way, Megatron, I'm not exactly sure Allah is ballless. We're gonna be talking about Allah's loins here. Allah's body parts. Does Allah have a pager? Yes, he's a teenager with a little bit of gold and a pager. A'udhu billah. That's good. What a perfectly nice video. How can this be? Yeah, it was going to be a perfectly nice video. It did not turn out that way. Hi, my name is Allah. I identify as Hi, my name is Allah. I identify as us, we, LGBT, peace be upon him. Yeah, I was going to say that the A in LGBTQIA plus is actually for Allah, but I didn't include that. Let's see. Just saw an ad claiming Kamala is going to be tough on Hamas terrorists. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what you'll find during the election cycle. Everyone is super tough on. Everyone is basically the opposite of what they've been for the past 4 years of being in power. That's how it works. And as the border czar, I have cracked down. Mutaman, due to my last.
Actually, I saw a clip of her today where she was with Oprah, and she said, I have guns. I have guns at home. We both have guns. Tim Walz and I both have guns.
I can't walk around my house without falling over guns. They just go off all the time. That's how much I love guns.
She said, if somebody breaks into my house, they will be shot. And then she said, I should probably not have said that. So anyway, that's what she said.
And then she'll go to the next town. Then she'll go to the next town. Blue area. Of course, we hate guns. Guns. People don't kill people. Guns kill people. Yeah. Oh wait, I left out Mutaman. Due to my last page, I will be changing my name to the commenter formerly known as Mutaman. You got to stick with Mutaman.
Mutaman.
I think we can all agree the Dr. Muhammad Hijab PhD versus Bill Craig debate was embarrassing. The sides were too unmatched, like Israel versus Ummatir. I still haven't seen it. I only saw like 2 clips of it. I'm gonna check it out though. Hi, David and AP. I'm from Australia, and I'll just say you have helped me finding Christ.
Based.
Good job, AP. Thanks for the cosign, AP. We both helped this man.
Beast.
And there's a follow-up. Hi, David. I'm from Australia. Thank you for what you have done. Good to hear from you, Leo. CO says, Momo muted WCL response at minute 27:40. I realized I was on his channel too late. Was just trying to listen to the debate. Finally found it somewhere else. Oh, hijab muted? Oh, muted Craig's response. Oh, this must be on the version on Hijab's channel. I don't know what this is about. That's what it sounds like it's about. Hello, please accept my jizya. Muhammad will. Lil Drill says, these Muslim apologists commit shirk 8 times a day while trying to defend Allah. Just a big circle of lies. Yeah, that's the thing. Everything that any one of these guys is saying would be called heretical by other Muslims in the world. And then you've got people like Hijab, and they come on, look, the Christians have different models of the Trinity. This proves that it doesn't make sense. And meanwhile, can't agree with anything about anything with anyone. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit. And upon this charge, cry, God for Harry, England, and St. George. We're Americans, so we'd say, dump your tea into our harbor. Graunritter. Please watch Mike Winger's new QA at the 55 to 56 mark. Winger tries to do the hijab strong chest puff. Oh, I got to see this. Winger. Can you imagine like Mike Winger and his voice trying to sound like hijab?
It's like, oh, I'm looking at Muhammad Hijab here, and Muhammad Hijab is like, oh, me strong than you.
That's what he's, yeah, I'm going to have to check that out. Let me screenshot this real quick for this time. Mike Winger's video, 55, 56. This will be one of the rare occasions where I go to the worst YouTube channel on the planet. to check something out. Scythe probably affirms his mom's foot and other body parts more than those of Allah. Soprano alto, peace be upon me. No, Scythe is pretty dead set on Allah. He's going to have some harsh words for anyone who's challenging Allah's body parts. David Wood, you hypocrite! How dare you criticize Allah for having 2 hands when you too have 2 hands? It sounds like something Scythe would say. That's awesome. Megatron here says, the Menge debate, he said Megatron is Allah's son. Wait, what? In the Menge debate, he said Megatron is Allah's son. Did he say something like that? AP.
What?
Said in the Menge debate, he said Megatron is Allah's son. Is this something like that happening? Is this ringing a bell?
He was talking about Metatron, which is the angel in ancient Jewish myths and beliefs and all that, and was claiming that some Jews believe that the Metatron is the Son of God, and they also worship him or something like that. And he based this idea on something in a Jewish text, but he wasn't representing it correctly. It is basically it's not saying that they actually worship him or consider him son of or anything like that.
Yeah, matter of fact, I saw there was Fareed at one point tried to respond to the Ezra as the son of Allah, and then he showed this source where some people think that that the book of Malachi is actually written by Ezra, and he went by the name Malachi, which is messenger and stuff, and saying, so you see, it's saying, and they pointed out which means angel. Right, which means angel, and so he's saying, you see, they're saying that Ezra is an angel. It's like, no, it's saying that's what the name means. Oh man. Anyway, pretty dumb stuff. We might need to go through that because we might need to put together all their responses to the Ezra issue and have one big fun live stream of their going through their responses, which usually involve them being barely literate with Jewish sources and not understanding what anyone who actually reads it. Again, it says, and he took the name Malachi, meaning messenger or angel, blah, 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 blah. And they say, you see, they called him an angel. This proves that he's saying that he's the son of God. Come on down to Ezra Shack. We have a blowout sale of 50% on all pager and walkie-talkie. It would be fun to invite people.
The funny thing is also that the Metatron is associated with Enoch, not with Ezra. So there is a big difference there. But it's completely randomly again inserted as a possible explanation to the Quran's big blunder when it says that the Jews say Uzair is the son of Allah. And when the hadith for the claim that this is what Jews in general believe, which is why they will go to hell, and so on.
Yeah, all kinds of problems. And they'll say, how do you know there wasn't some tiny little group that calls Ezra this? Okay, why is Allah responding to that in his eternal speech? When he says when he says Christians say the Messiah is the Son of God, that's general standard Christian belief. Why do you then zero in on some group of Jews that we can't even find a record of? And then in the hadith, you say that this is the main charge against Jews in general, and that Jews agree that they worship Ezra. Why? It makes no sense. There's no way out of this, guys. You can't say, there's this hypothetical guy over here who worshiped Ezra. You can't prove that he didn't. Okay, that's not what Allah said. He doesn't say, hey, some particular guy. He says, the Jews. The Jews.
How do you know that all Jews do not believe in this? You cannot trust Jews. They lie all the time. So how do you know? Are you a Jew?
Any chance of... Oh, go ahead.
Menge also... There was a discussion, I don't know what it was, again about Jews. Maybe it was related to this. I clarified something about Jews, and Menge's response to me was then, how do you know? Are you Jewish? And then I just found the response so stupid. I started laughing, and then we moved on. It was a hilarious debate. I have to go back and see what that was.
Coffee House here says, any chance of responding to Mental Outlaw on the pagers? Since I've never heard of Mental Outlaw, pretty unlikely. I usually respect him, but every anti-establishment guy winds up naive about jihadi warfare and Dawah tactics. It's annoying as all get out. That is an annoying thing, that you have people who don't follow the situation. They'll just hear They'll just hear, what? Israel's blowing up people's pagers? And then that'll somehow morph into blowing up cell phones. And that'll somehow morph into, wait a minute, you mean any Jew can just like push a button and blow up your cell phone and blow your balls up? What? And then have a big, huge problem with things.
Well, I see that Mental Outlaw is some channel that apparently went into explaining the pagers and their explosion. It seems to be going into the technical aspects and also talking about how this is dangerous. That's all I'm getting so far from here. I just have to say one thing, which is a lot of people have said a lot of dumb things about the Israeli operation. I mean, it's obviously Israel still hasn't made any official statement about the pager explosions and walkie-talkie explosions, which makes it even better because they're basically, by being quiet about it, sending the message, you know what's up,
That's more. That's actually more intimidating.
It is psychological warfare in a very strong way.
Hey, here you go. What do you guys say? What do you guys say about all the pagers blowing up and blowing our balls off? Oh, did something happen with pagers? So something happened with pagers?
It's actually much deeper, apparently, than people initially thought, where Israel, for quite a long time, set up a production of these specific pagers, and then somehow made it possible for groups like Hezbollah to get in touch and order pages from this specific place, this specific factory, thinking that they are reliable, not knowing that this is basically an Israeli front to infiltrate the terrorist enemies and to take control of their communications and shut them down when necessary.
Hey,
and Israel.
Hey, Hezbollah, we have a great deal for you at Helicopter Pagers. We'll give you a great discount, almost for free. It's really, really cheap pagers here. Totally untraceable. That is.
Yeah, Hezbollah was like, these pagers, they are very good working. Let us order 5,000 of these pagers
and give them to every one of our terrorists.
And the Israeli
the box comes only for terrorists, super secret. Okay, not for everyone, just for the terrorists.
But what they did, apparently, when the orders were placed, and it was evident that these pagers are meant to go to Hezbollah, they immediately went into the production and started placing explosive or corrosives into the next to the battery with all of these in such a way that it wouldn't cause too much of an explosion.
Smart.
But that it would simply harm the immediate user and simply shut down whatever they are doing. And this is significant because it hurts Hezbollah members and it shuts down their communications and significantly damages their infrastructure.
You said it hurts members. Oh, it hurts members, all right. It hurts them real bad.
That was totally unintended. But yes, so that's what they did. And I want to say something. Lots of people have been going around like, well, this is dangerous. Isn't this terrorism? It's terrorism. What's it blowing up pages? Excuse me. Hezbollah has been firing missiles at Israeli civilians for a year now, have been repeatedly told to stop, and they have been proudly doing it. And in Arabic, they go, the Jews, the filthy Jews, we're going to kill them, we're going to destroy them, we're going to punish them. And then in English, they're like, we are a resistance movement. All we are seeking is a peaceful solution.
We want a super woke LGBTQ alliance with us.
Yeah. And targeting this terrorist group in such a precise way is a very, very fantastic move. It is an epic move. It is counter-terrorism. It is absolutely part of warfare. And the results, by the way, of the casualties are amazing. The majority, the vast majority, overwhelmingly were Hezbollah targets. Of course, there are civilian casualties. There always are, but the majority of them were Hezbollah targets, and many of them. Their pager beeps, they pick it up, boom, it explodes. Or it explodes near their waist, whatever it is. And here's also another issue. There is a video where a pager explodes in the middle of a market where one of these Hezbollah terrorists is going around and buying fruits and buying vegetables. Watch the video. There are some people saying, how can you just blow up random pagers when they're walking around all kinds of different places? They're endangering people. Why are we condemning ISIS but not Israel? Look at the videos. You see a video where a Hezbollah guy is walking next to tomatoes and the pager blows up. You can see in the video that the tomatoes don't even move.
Doesn't even hurt tomatoes.
The tomatoes don't even move.
No,
it only hurt
no tomatoes. No tomatoes were injured in the blowing off of this guy's nuts.
So it was a very, very good precision move, and it sent a huge, big signal. And Israel sure has a lot more up their sleeves.
Hey, did you ever see Breaking Bad?
Of course.
There's this scene when you were saying that them not saying anything about it, but it serves as a warning anyway. It reminds me, there's this scene where Walt's brother-in-law Hank finally catches on to him, realizes he's the drug kingpin Heisenberg, and he like confronts him in the garage, closes the garage. And it's interesting psychologically because Walt goes through every like manipulation tactic and everything else trying to deny it. First he's like, what? This is crazy, blah, 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 blah. And then it's Hank, I'm dying, man. I'm dying. I'm gonna be dead anyway. Why would you want to do this? And then it's think about my children and how this would affect them. He's going through like every possible thing. And then finally he goes, finally, Hank is going, I don't even know who you are. I don't even know who I'm talking to. And Walt goes, well, if you were correct and I was who you thought I was, then I guess I would probably tread lightly. And it was, hey, I'm not agreeing with what you say. I'm not agreeing with what you're saying. But if you think it's me, I'd probably be real careful right now. And not want to tick me off, right? Because if you're right, I'm a real dangerous guy, huh? That makes sense. I'm pretty darn dangerous. That's what
you should have said spoiler alert. Now you have ruined the lives.
It's like 1,000 years ago. There's a time limit on spoiler alerts. In The Sixth Sense, Bruce Willis is a ghost. I said it. If you haven't seen it by then, I don't care. Soylent Green is human bodies that they're grinding up and turning into green crackers, ladies and gentlemen. It's over 50 years ago. Stop crying. All right, let's get back to our good friend Scythe talk here.
Walter White is Palestinian. So, yeah.
He was.
The Muslim child will make sure to
How many times are you going to put this picture of this kid up on the screen? Look, I have it all crumbled up.
all of the doubts regarding the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Listen to what he just said. This kid is going to do something about all our doubts. This is insane.
And that would say, enough by your honor. And some part of it would draw close to the other. And anybody who claims that the foot of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like our foot is a kafir, disbeliever. Just wait, the Muslim child will make sure to clear all of the doubts regarding the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So
this kid's gonna help us with all our doubts, ladies and gentlemen, this kid. Scythe's actually doing a decent job. Like, in order to hold people's interest, you're supposed to give them like little glimpses of something to come. It's like a promised payoff towards the end of the video. But he's actually doing it. And this kid is going to destroy Sam Shamoun. This kid could walk in there right now and debate Sam Shamoun and Jay Dyer without any help from these other guys.
He has a shin.
Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a chin. Beware of the day the chin of Allah will be bared, and the wicked will be asked to prostrate, but they will not be able to do so.
Hey, I'm confused. He's saying chin for shin. But Son of Hamas says he would say shin if you're saying chin. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't say children, he says children. He has a problem with the ch sound, and
because
he can't pronounce. He can't pronounce.
In Arabic, sh sound. That there is a sh sound. Why would this guy do ch instead of sh?
That's what I'm saying. These guys have reverse problem. So some Arabs can't pronounce the ch sound, so they say sh, and wherever Scythe is from, he can't pronounce sh, so he says ch. So he keeps saying that Allah has a chin when he's talking about, just to be clear, he's not saying Allah has a chin, although Allah has a face. So you would assume he has a chin, but he's saying shin. And once again, Scythe is just agreeing exactly with what Sam Shamoun said. Hey, you guys believe Allah has a shin. Now here's the evidence. According to Scythe, he agrees completely.
wa ta'ala has a chin. Beware of the day the chin of Allah will be bared, and the wicked will be asked to prostrate, but they will not be able to do so. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself confirmed in the Quran that he has a chin, and anybody who rejects what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala confirmed about himself, his problem is not with me or the people of the Sunnah, his problem is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wa la'iyadu billah.
And guys, just so he cited the Quran for Allah's chin slash shin there, but in the Hadith you have this famous passage where at the judgment Allah is going to be changing forms over and over again, and people aren't going to know what to believe because Allah is like master of disguise. And then Muslims are actually going to recognize him because Allah is going to pull his kimono up. He's going to pull his kimono up and show his shin, and then all Muslims are going to go, "Oh, that's Allah." So according to Muhammad himself, Muslims are only going to be able to recognize Allah by his shin when he pulls up his dress. So this is what Scythe's saying. Look, this is dead serious here. If you guys are saying he doesn't have a shin when he says he has a shin in the Quran, and we have in authentic hadiths Muhammad saying that this is the only way you're going to be able to recognize him on Judgment Day is by his shin. One, he definitely has to have a shin, according to this pretty straightforward method of interpretation. He has a shin, but kind of follow up, Muslims, you'd better know what Allah's shin looks like. Which is confusing because everything they say, well, but it's not like our shin. Okay, what's it like? What's it like? You're supposed to be able to recognize it, which means you're supposed to have an idea of what it looks like. Do you not see the problem? We have no idea what these things are like. Okay, Muhammad says you do know. If you're a real Muslim who's going to recognize Allah at the judgment, then you know exactly what his shin looks like. If you know exactly what Allah's shin looks like, fine, describe it for us. What does it look like? You supposedly know. And if you don't know, then Muhammad was wrong. Oopsie.
Remember, anybody who claims that the chin of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like our chin is a kafir disbeliever.
He even has loins.
The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam confirmed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a haqu. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال خلق الله الخلق فلما فرغ منه قامت الرحم فأخذت بحقو الرحمن فقال لها ما. According to al-Ma'ani, al-haqu is al-khasr, which is translated in English as the waist, but al-haqu is also translated as loins. That's
So, Allah has either waist or loins. Everyone got that? So, Sam said, foot. Scythe agreed completely. Yes, Allah has a foot. That's very clear. Sam said a shin. Scythe said, yep, absolutely correct. Definitely correct. Definitely correct. Sam said loins. Well, that's one translation, but you could translate it as something else. Everyone good so far?
I wonder if you can make sirloin steak from Allah's body.
It would not be like any steak that you're familiar with, though, AP. Just grant that, because if you say it is like sirloin steak that we have, then you will be a kafir. Guys,
Next, we're going to talk about Allah's testicles, but he doesn't have them anymore because the Jews made his pager explode. Now we don't talk about it anymore.
I always prefer to mention the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Arabic language rather than English. And anybody...
Did you hear what he just said? When you're talking about these things, say them in Arabic. Oh, wait, so no one understands?
who believes that al-haqu of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like our haqu is a kafir disbeliever.
And he has at least 2 eyes, if not more, and 2 right hands.
Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has 2 eyes. And anybody who rejects that is a misguided person falling into disbelief.
Did you catch that? He's talking about Allah having actual eyes. And he said, if anyone who rejects that has fallen into disbelief. So if you're a Muslim and you do not accept the Salafi interpretation that Allah has actual eyes, you have fallen into disbelief. You're an unbeliever, which would make you what? I mean, if you've recited the Shahada, but now you reject that Allah has actual eyeballs, you're an apostate.
Yep. Just very simple question here. Humans have eyes because they need them, right? Humans have eyes that serve a function. They serve a function, which is apparently why we have them. If we didn't have them, we could not fulfill the function of seeing. It wouldn't be a thing. It wouldn't be possible. Why does Allah have eyes? Is it because he needs them in order to see? Why does Allah have a foot? A foot? Because he needs to jump around on his 1 foot. He needs to bounce around. Otherwise, he can't.
Pack it up, pack it in. Let me begin. Jump around. Hey, here you go. Jump around and look around.
Is that what Allah does? This imply that Allah himself might have been created by a bigger other guy, who himself is the creator of Allah, who gave him a foot so that he can walk around, or so that he can hop around? And this Allah, by the way, was
Hop around.
He was like, I'm not going to give you 2 feet. I'm going to give you 1 foot. Just say thanks for that. Be grateful, you little weakling. That's what the big Allah said to the little Allah. I don't know.
Hey, we should make a parody of Jump Around called Hop Around. But we have like an animation of Allah with like his 1 leg, but with like his 2 feet on there, and then his 2 right arms and stuff. And that would be dope. That would be pretty dope. So what's Scythe talking about now? Oh, eyes. Yes, Allah has eyes, and anyone who says that he does not have eyes, you are falling into disbelief.
Stated Anas radiallahu anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah did not send any prophet, but that he warned his nation of the one-eyed liar at Dajjal. He is one-eyed, while your Lord.
I'm sorry. For anyone who grew up in my generation, there were a variety of euphemisms for penis that talked about it being one-eyed. So it's just, dude, quit saying one-eyed. Don't say one-eyed. Don't say one-eyed wonder worm. Any of that stuff, man. Just talk about something else, dude. Don't. Scythe, you need to think about how your words are interpreted in other parts of the world, buddy.
Is not one-eyed. The word kafir, unbeliever, is written between his 2 eyes. And to confirm that your Lord is not one-eyed means 2 eyes, let's go to Sharh Usul I'tiqad Ahl Sunnah.
I have to show you that your Lord is 2-eyed and not one-eyed. That's good. This is very important to know, because otherwise, if he was one-eyed and the Dajjal was one-eyed, I'd be like, oh, that's got to be the same person right there. I'm so confused.
والجماعة من الكتاب والسنة of الإمام اللالكائي رحمه الله, volume 2, page 65.
Do the special effects help for Muslim viewers? Do the special effects help, like just not putting them on the screen? Like it looks like like a picture is being uncrumbled and it looks like a page is flipping.
Yeah.
Does that actually help?
It does. It makes me feel that Islam is the truth.
Yeah, it makes me sit there and go, gosh, how can I reject child marriage after seeing all this?
سياق ما دل من كتاب الله عز وجل وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم على أن من صفات الله عز وجل الوجه والعينين واليدين. Text from the book of Allah, may he be glorified and exalted, and the sunnah of his messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم, which indicates that the attributes of Allah, may he be glorified and exalted, include the face, the 2 eyes, and the 2 hands.
2 hands. Face, 2 eyes, 2 hands.
2 hands. But you know what's the funny thing about all of this is the hadith that he just mentioned about the Dajjal, which says Allah did not send any prophet, but that he warned his nation of the one-eyed liar. the Dajjal, he is one-eyed, while your Lord is not one-eyed. The word kafir is written between his two eyes. The funny thing about this hadith is, what my mind goes to is, you know how Muslims today, many of them talk about, oh, how can God be, how can God enter his creation, how can he be physical, how can he walk and do this and this and that. According to this hadith here, Muslims could potentially confuse the Dajjal with Allah himself. And Muhammad doesn't say, and of course you will know that this is not Allah because Allah doesn't enter his creation and he will not become a physical body that you can observe. Obviously, therefore you shouldn't believe it in. He says, you will not be fooled because Allah is not one-eyed. So that's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So there seems to be a great disconnection between how Muhammad envisioned Allah and how Muslims today envision Allah.
And there's that passage in the history about Tabari where Allah creates Adam his same size and shape, and Satan can't tell the difference. And he's like, he sees the statue of Adam over there, and he's like, is that Allah? And he goes in there and crawls in his mouth, and then crawls around through him, and then crawls out his butthole, and then comes out and proclaims, "Nope. All right, guys, this is not Allah, because Allah is solid, and this thing's hollow." And that's how he knew. But keep in mind, going along with what you're just pointing out, it's like, could we confuse Allah with something that Allah created? Could we confuse Allah with a statue of Adam? Could we confuse Allah with the Dajjal? An average Muslim is saying, what? No, how would that happen? Yes, according to the Muslim sources, yes. You have to try and figure out which one is which. Is this Allah or is this the Dajjal? Let me inspect a little bit. Two eyes, gotcha, not the Dajjal. You have to look very carefully. And the only way you're going to recognize Allah is when he pulls up his dress and you see his shin. Guys, all we're pointing out here is what you read in the Muslim sources about Allah and how to recognize him and how to distinguish him from other created things is not what your average Muslim would think at all. It seems like they've absorbed a Judeo-Christian concept of what God is like, and then they're sort of reading that into their sources when their sources are very, very, very different. And I would say pretty darn pagan. Pretty darn pagan.
Don't look up people's dresses. Just don't do it. It's not appropriate.
Can you imagine? Hey, is that guy really Allah? I don't know. I have to see the shin. I can't see it. His dress is covering. Let me take a peek. Hey, maybe he'll sit down on the bleacher over there, and I can kind of sit under the bleacher.
You stop them and you go, excuse me, sir. I suspect that you might be Allah, but I want to lift your dress and check your body to see if it's really you or not. Can you please comply?
Something along those lines.
The thing, when Shaitan went into the statue of Adam and came out of the butthole, did his color change?
Possibly not, because Adam hadn't eaten yet.
Okay.
So his digestive system probably wouldn't have been.
I see.
All right. There are actually super chats that are about stuff that we've read, but I don't want to skip forward to them, so let's zoom through a few real quick and get to those ones. I'll trade you my Ibrahim Makil card for your Yahya Sinwar card. We should do something with that, with these trading cards we've got. I love AP's Kamala voice. Yeah, AP's Kamala cackle is almost as good as the real Kamala cackle. Ballless follows from Allah. Here you go. Ballless follows from Allah not being hollow. No. Hollow refers to the digestive tract. You could, in theory, have balls and no digestive tract. That's just a theory, though. I'm not aware of Muslim scholars explaining this for us. Momo should meet Kamala, white dudes for Harris. Oh, yeah. The boom, boom room. Muhammad could be the president of white guys for Harris. That'd be funny. Muhammad
Scythe, I have a genuine question as somebody who's questioning and who wants your wisdom on this matter. Does Allah have balls? Can you specify what your position on that is, and what I am supposed to think about this or not think about this, and what would make somebody a potentially a disbeliever about this position? Please let me know. I will be waiting for your response. Thank you.
Oh wait, did I just skip that? Muhammad meets Jesus in the boom boom room. Jesus explains everything Muhammad got wrong. Oh, we're going to have a more fun encounter between Jesus and Muhammad coming up here in the next couple months. Green Peace of Mind says, I like toast. I like toast as well. That's good. Did the early Islamic scholars believe Allah had real or fake body parts? Yasser Qadi talked about this, I think, in a clip, if I'm recalling correctly, because this was a long time ago. But I think Yasser Qadi was saying, if you go back, they seem to interpret these as actual body parts. In other words, like Muhammad's companions seem to interpret these things literally. And so in other words, he says that the basic Salafi position was the earliest position. Now, the only weakness I can see there is you would probably have to. You're taking later Sunni sources seriously as descriptions of the earliest companions of Muhammad. So I'm wondering if some of the Shias or some of the more philosophical Muslims might object to the reliability of those sources. Call sign, I commented on Scythe's video and said, a disgrace to Morocco. And he replied, who is? And I said, obviously you. I am Moroccan and proudly Christian. Is Scythe Moroccan?
Well, I thought he's Saudi. Isn't he Saudi?
Well, if he's Saudi, then why wouldn't he be able to say shin?
I don't know. I don't get it.
I wonder if Moroccans have a problem with that sound. Hey, it's interesting though. If he's Moroccan, then he'll probably be buddying up with Jake, because Jake's in Morocco. Jake moved to Morocco, right, to get away from the pagan U.S.
Well, safe talk sounds like he doesn't like anyone at all. Nobody. So I don't know.
Jackson Hill says, did Mike Winger hurt you? Let me be clear, Jackson Hill. An army of a million Mike Wingers on steroids with 50 calibers would not hurt me. And wouldn't even try. Bunch of crybabies. Robin Hood says, the August Hezbollah newsletter. Big shout out to Ahmed for his idea to use pagers. Oh, the August version. It's 2 different months, AP. The August Hezbollah newsletter. Big shout out to Ahmed for his idea to use pagers. September Hezbollah PA announcement. Ahmed, please report to HR. Ahmed, please report to HR. That dude's getting fired, man.
The funny thing is, Hezbollah was there was a report because Hezbollah switched their 5,000 employees from using smartphones to using pagers in order to avoid being located by Israel.
Smart.
And what happened? They ordered pagers that were by Israel with explosives in them.
With a little bit of gold and a pager. Nice.
Don't be a terrorist. Don't be a terrorist.
Let's see. UN leaders. Israel's insanity and offense must be stopped and should not be tolerated. Meanwhile, Golan literally burning for almost a year. That is the problem. That is the problem. I mean, look, I mean, seriously, people are complaining about the pagers, and look how freaking patient they've been. You've been launching missiles at them for a year now. A year, just endless missiles, and you move people out, and then they're killing kids and stuff like this. And finally, you're like, let's put a tiny amount of explosive in these pagers that are designated just for terrorists. And the whole world, oh my goodness, it's genocide of the balls of terrorists.
I mean, seriously, you have for a whole year, you have terrorists firing at them. And then once they respond, it's like, this escalation on part of Israel is very concerning. We are calling for restraint. We question the techniques of Israel. Honestly, honestly, I had a little bit of a different position on the United Nations and things like that. I understand now how I don't know the whole United Nations votes resolutions on things where the worst countries in the world participate and actually get to have a voice, get to have a vote in how you are supposed to conduct things. Um, all of this is a joke. The United Nations is a joke. Human
It
rights
does
organizations.
I mean, it was a good idea, but
Joke. It's a joke. It should be defunct. It does not function anymore. You cannot have China. I don't know. You cannot have the worst, atrocious countries like
China.
Iran.
It's China.
You cannot have Iran. All of these horrible countries on the same level with the same authority and the same votes and the same say as Western nations, for example.
That's a problem.
You can't have people of different cultural groups speaking for Israel or for others, deciding how they should defend themselves. Right now, especially over the last year, lots of these countries, even those that are usually close allies, think they can make a decision on how Israel should defend itself, what they can and cannot justify when they want to survive. Honestly, Israel should not care. Israelis should not care. They should not listen for a second. They should not try to explain them.
To their credit, they tend to not listen.
And that is new. They used to listen a lot, and that was a mistake. Honestly, most of Israel's history was full of compromise, and that was a huge mistake. Where did it get them? If it wasn't for listening to the West and listening to the world, they would have been done with this problem a long time ago.
Yeah, the UN is sort of like, it reminds me of lots of other things, with Western nations making the constant mistake of thinking, hey, we all, a bunch of people around me seem to think the same way and so on. Therefore, other people in the world are the same. Therefore, we can put us all together and we're all gonna get along because we all think the same. And then having to find out the hard way, it doesn't work like that. And it's similar where, hey, let's have this big global organization of nations, and we're all pretty much the same. We'll all try to get and like other nations that want to destroy you, infiltrate and use your good intentions to destroy you. There are bad people and evil governments in the world who use your good intentions to destroy you and subjugate you. And UN is a perfect example of that. Last time I heard the name Minge was an episode of South Park. It was the name of a popular person's vajayjay. Yeah, I've heard that too. Apparently it's like, what is it? The UK or something like that, where Minge means something else. Why, like this guy chooses? Yeah, just to be clear, his name isn't actually Menge. It's an abbreviation. It stood for something like Muslim such and such and such and such. There was this channel name back in the day. Keep in mind, guys, Menge goes all the way back. When I started studying Islam, people were dealing with Menge back then. So it's just weird that he seems so stupid, and he was cranking out articles and had his own like Dawah center back then.
It's a very British thing to use the word minge when referring to the woman genitalia.
Yeah, they speak weird over there. A bunch of weirdos.
It's a minge, isn't it? And we probably shouldn't be saying this and dragging this out, because as a British listener, this probably sounds very weird.
They're like, oh, what's this? What's this? This is very, very offensive to my British ears, isn't it? And we're like, guys, that means nothing. You can say that word. We don't even know what you're talking about. It's like when I was in Britain, I took like 50 pictures of people coming up, can I get a picture? And everyone, I'm like, and they didn't tell me till like after 50 pictures that's like the middle finger to them, right? Like, but I saw people reacting when I would go like this, and I'd see someone in the background behind the camera go. It's like, wait, you guys knew? You didn't tell me anything?
The funny thing is, I referred to him. I was aware of the slang. I was aware of how it is, of what it is called in British.
Oh, you should use that then.
And when I was debating him, when I debated him a while ago, I used it directly to his face because he was being so disrespectful. I kept calling him Minge during the debate. It was like, first of all, get it right. It's not Menj. It is Manj. I was like, okay, Menj. So we kept going like that. This last weekend, I decided to just play it nice and cool and kept referring to him as Menj. And so far we're good, and I don't want to.
That's your
I
good
don't want
buddy
to
now.
get back to being disrespecting. I mean, we are now friends. We're now very, very good friends. We love each other. Yeah. This is a matter of the past. Alhamdulillah.
Gabe says, D Wood, you should do a stream watching a Mike Winger video. We did back in the day. It was Mike Winger's Mike Winger giving his thoughts on Islam, and we watched it. And we were agreeing with him as far as making fun of Islam, but we were making fun of Mike Winger being a nerd pretty hard in that video. But you can check it out. It's still on my channel. Search for David and AP and Mike Winger. If we convince everyone that cell phones can randomly blow up, that might be a boon to society. Yeah, if you understand how cell phones are screwing people up psychologically, might be good if everyone became suddenly terrified of them. ChatGPT insisted that Salafi are a tiny, insignificant minority of the Muslim population. Can you confirm? From personal experience, they seem massive.
Well, here is the thing. There is one aspect of truth to it, which is that if you take the global Muslim population into consideration, the Salafis are a minority. Most Muslims around the world do not follow the Salafi school, and the Salafi, they don't even follow the Athari, which is the theological school where the Salafi movement is very dominant. They follow different schools of thought in theology, the Ash'ari and the Maturidi schools, which are distinct from the whole Athari and Salafi movement, which primarily comes from the Arabian Peninsula, specifically from Saudi Arabia and all that. But the thing is, they happen to be very, very loud, especially online. Mm-hmm. And they happen to be also heavily funded by Saudi Arabia.
Funded,
and
very
others.
very aggressive.
Yeah,
and doing there's a reason lots of the Dawah guys, there's a reason every other Dawah guy you run into is Salafi. They're really focused on going around and winning converts. But also, I mean, guys, here's the problem. Here's the problem. This is the problem for everyone thinking when we talk about Islam and calling for the subjugation of the entire world and stuff. They say, but what are you talking about? I have a nice Muslim friend. I have multiple nice Muslim friends. I have nice Muslims. I'm not one of these guys who will say, no, that nice Muslim friend is actually trying to subjugate you too. He's in it. No, there are actual Muslims who don't believe these things and so on. And I know because some of these guys, some of your nice Muslim friends over time convert, and then they don't come up to you later and go, actually, I was planning on killing you, but now that I've left Islam, they don't. So you have genuine people who have different ideas about Islam. You have Muslims who don't want to subjugate the world and so on. Here's the issue. When Islam takes over an area, these same hyper-aggressive guys and the Salafi types, they're going to be the ones who, you just saw it. If you do not agree with how he interprets these things, he's going to put you in the apostate category and execute you. That's what you saw with ISIS. They're going, what? We're killing Muslims. Hey, if you're not on board with how we're doing things, you are an enemy as well. That's something that actually happens. So, in other words, if you have people who, if Islam gets its way, they will go after Muslims they regard as hypocrites just as quickly as they'll go after unbelievers and so on. Guess what? People are going to fall in line with these guys. You're going to have to, if they get their way, and that's why you make sure they never get the way, and so they're never in that position.
I wanted to make a video about this whole thing, the branches of Islam.
I hear you 17 times a week. I want to make a video, and I see 0 videos.
No, I wanted to make this a long time ago. I even put out. I even got this big. I don't know these big papers to put all of the branches of Islam, the theological,
different
and moral,
sects,
and
different sects of Islam.
Yeah,
I've been wanting to do that for years too. There's just so many of them. But it would be funny like that if you had it like Charlie's Wall with all the connections, so it looks like a massive, insane conspiracy.
Yeah, I actually figured out to just break
it
down on. I figured to break it down to the Sunni branches, the theological branches of Sunni Islam, the law, the jurisprudential branches, and then the different movements under it. I actually laid it out quite well, and it was quite good. I just left it like that. I should go into that again. But to basically, so the Salafi movement is a modern movement that is that basically is based on the traditionalist, literalist, legalistic movement known as the Athari theological school. The Salafi movement is a modern movement that is based on that, and that thinks, okay, the Muslims have gone collectively too far away from real Islam, so it is time to bring real Islam back into the picture and to revive real Islam as it really was. And Salaf means Salaf refers to the early companions and the first three generations of the Muslims, the predecessors. Yeah. And so
Nice
the
try.
idea
Nice
is
try, AP.
the idea is we need to go back to how they practiced Islam and how they preached Islam and how they understood Islam, because after them, certain people came and started moving Islam away from its fundamentals and mixing new things into Islam that are not supposed to be part of Islam, such as, I don't know, celebrating the birthday of Muhammad and things like that. So this is basically the movement, and it's very significant because it is very loud online and it is heavily funded online and across different countries. In America, they are in universities. They have their own something institute as part of the university, funded by Saudi Arabia. Throughout the West, they have funded entities and so on. This is why you see them so much. Otherwise, if you go to, I don't know, Indonesia, Turkey, Morocco, even different countries, you will probably never come across a Salafi. You will come across regular Muslims who believe in the different branches. Not saying that they are peaceful. It's still very much problematic and messed up, but the Salafis are very, very much online, present, and dominant.
None of that is true.
Alhamdulillah.
I profess there is no God but Alan, and Moham is his pager.
Beast.
No God but Alan, because I'm a teenager, and Moham is his pager. Here we go. Rick Newton says, those pagers were old Samsung exploding tablets. It would be funny if they came out with a story like how they, all the recalled Samsung tablets they actually used for those. That'd be funny. Apostate Boohoo should come in here and help us get some perspective. How can you laugh about those pagers? Imagine that you are terrorist nuts. Imagine that you're D's nuts.
I can actually imagine him
you
making
reach out
videos.
to you try to shake hands with this pager because you're D's nuts, and then the pager blows up on you. So,
I can imagine him actually making a reaction video to this, and it's like, and we have to analyze this. We have to understand what is going on, and you literally have devices that you purchased suddenly being blown up. What if your smartphone blows up tomorrow? And
how would
it
you
was
like
Israel.
that? How would you feel? How would you feel if the Jews were doing this to you? Imagine that.
Man,
D. Wood is the Walter White of Christian apologetics.
that's true. That's true.
Say my name. Not to get you too off task. Oh, that already happened. We'll get back on task, but not to get you too off task. You guys should definitely try asking ChatGPT to imitate Muhammad Hijab or Ali Dawah. It works. That's funny. That can actually imitate people. Guys, I've never used ChatGPT even once. I've never used any of the AI stuff. So I'm realizing I need to get into it because AP keeps talking about making an awesome video response to stupid arguments, but he never does. So I'm going to have to do it when I want to do something else, but I'm going to have to do it now. Thanks, AP. It's foolish. It's foolish to mess with the most intel ethnic group.
I actually found it. It's right here. It was somewhere on the ground. And
That's your plan for the future video?
That's my plan of Muslim branches and movements and stuff.
Hey, I've got a big 6 foot wide whiteboard. You could actually draw it all out.
Alhamdulillah.
It's foolish to mess with the most intel ethnic group. Yes, it is.
It is.
The double chin of Allah. The double chin of Allah. Soprano alto lama. Rick Newton said these Muslim soldiers are like Allah's parts, some over here, some over there. Terrorists blow up so fast these days, very similar to Islam versus. I mean, seriously, I've brought this up before, but you wonder, does it ever cross your guys' minds that maybe God is not supporting us in this war effort? It's like, oh, we just got blown up. Oh, we lost again. Oh, we lost again. Oh, we lost in 1967. Oh, we lost in 1973. Oh, yeah, we lost again. We keep losing. But God's on our side here. Guys, I'm not saying that everyone should think like. I'm saying from an Islamic perspective, when Allah is with you and agrees with you, he supports you in the war to conquer. And so if you were going up against someone and you just kept losing, how would you not realize, maybe Allah's not on our side here? You're wondering when that's finally going to kick in.
If you kept losing, you would probably think, if the trajectory continues as it is, we're going to lose forever. But no, they don't think about it. But the thing is, what bothers me about all of this is not the Muslim attitude. They don't learn. We know this already. It's no surprise. No big news. What bothers me about this is how certain ignorant people in the West, for example, react to this, and how they're eating up the Muslim talking points and the propaganda against Israel and all of that. It's insane.
Prophet Momoham says, if images are haram, how all these Dawah clowns making videos? Yeah, I've wondered, Muhammad clearly wasn't talking about making videos. It wasn't a thing. But, you do wonder, like, where you draw the line. I mean, because keep in mind, it's not just Scythe in a video. I mean, he's actually putting pictures up. And look at this kid. Look at this picture of this kid. And look at this picture of this. And look at this picture of that. So, like, what do you mean just, like, not a physical picture that you hold in your hand, but you can make a picture on a computer screen? I would like some clarification on that, because I'm not sure. I don't know how they explain this stuff. Finally.
Said, do not make videos.
I was going through these just because I wanted to get to Issa's comment. Here's the next. Allah will put down his merkin and reveal his chin. His chin. And here from Issa, do they really think they can mock the Trinity? That's the one I was like aiming towards. Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. He says, and we're just talking about that with Muhammad Hijab. Hey, look at that, it's so stupid, it's so dumb. How can they believe these things? And I have to agree with Mufti Abu Layth when he's talking about the Salafis and their descriptions of God. And he's like, that's a gremlin, man. You're describing a gremlin. Describing God as a gremlin. He goes, and he was cracking up laughing. He goes, and they tell me, well, don't try to picture it. Like, too late. Once you describe, you can't help but thinking about it, guys. We're human beings. We tend to visualize stuff. If I say, don't think about an elephant, for lots of people, a picture of an elephant's instantly going to pop into their head because we think visually and so on. So anyway, yeah, it is. How are you guys making fun of the Trinity when you're thinking of God like this?
And here you see in this example, David Wood contradicting himself. He was saying that this is a gremlin, but then he says it is actually Allah. Which one is it now? Is it gremlin or is it Allah?
This is clear. No integrity with the kuffar. People talk about pagers still. I kind of want to go get a pager now. I kind of want to go buy a pager and just have it clipped onto my waist at all times. That would be funny. All right,
there
back
is
to
a consensus among the scholars of Ahl-Sunnah wal Jama'ah on affirming that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has two eyes. Again, anybody who claims that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's eyes are like our eyes is a kafir disbeliever. And also,
okay, Allah's eyes are not like yours. They're different, but we know not how.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has two hands. And the Jews say the hand of Allah is chained. Chained are their hands.
Our eyes are better.
Guys, everyone pay attention to Scythe's point right here. Because people, no matter how many times this gets explained, people who don't understand the Salafi position, when they hear, they interpret Allah's body parts as literal. They'll call them attributes, but they believe he has literal hands, a literal foot, literal eye, actual eyes, and so on. And people say, why? Why don't they interpret them metaphorically. The hands example is actually probably the clearest explanation of this. So here we go. Check this out.
Has two hands. And the Jews say, the hand of Allah is chained. Chained are their hands, and cursed are they for what they say. Rather, both his hands are extended. He spends however he wills. And I repeat and I say, whoever claims that the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are like our hands is a kafir disbeliever.
So good luck in trying to defend your rational Salafi anthropomorphism.
Just imagine a person who literally believes that God Almighty is a human being is trying to claim that we believe in anthropomorphism.
He didn't explain. I'm hoping he explains the hands here, because there's what he just brought up. There's a much better case that I thought he was going to use. Hopefully he does. But I mean, think about what he just said right there. You believe that God is a human being. Not God as God exists eternally. God entered into creation as Jesus of Nazareth. So even in the Quran, Surah 27, 7-9, Allah enters into a fire and then speaks out of the fire. We don't then say, oh, they believe that Allah is a fire. They believe that Allah is a fire. They believe that God is a fire. We don't say that. God entered into the fire. The point is that is not how God is from eternity. You Salafis, when Allah is describing his foot and his two right hands and his eyes and his shin and so on, you believe that's how he is from all eternity. So you believe in some sort of gremlin-shaped God who's eternally like that. That's not, you don't get to say, oh, but you believe God is a human being. We believe in the incarnation. That's not how God is from all eternity, right? So just like you believe that God can enter a fire and speak out of a fire. You don't say, therefore, God is the fire or something like that. So you guys are anthropomorphic for all eternity. God has always been a physical body. In fact, for the Salafis, AP, I've never heard them say this, but think about from their perspective, with their problem, if they take this idea seriously, their real problem with the incarnation, God entering into creation, would be God already has a body. How's he going to go into a different? What is he going to come out of his body and go into a different? That doesn't make any sense. How's this Allah and his one shin with 2 feet sticking out the bottom and two right arms sticking out of one side and no left? And how's he gonna become a human being? How? He's already got a body. He's stuck like that for all eternity. He's stuck like that. So, but maybe I'm hoping he breaks it down, because there's a much stronger case for why you interpret Allah's hands literally. Let's see.
Joe.
Yeah, Daniel, I want to hear from your own mouth. The yad of Allah, is it a metaphor for his power?
Here we
It can be a metaphor for his power. It can be interpreted in many different ways. It does not contradict. It does not contradict Tawheed. It does not contradict monotheism.
Yes, it does.
And I will also say, yes, it does. Affirming the names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also part of Tawheed. We believe in Tawheed Uluhiyya, Tawheed Rububiyyah, and Tawheed Asma' wa Sifat. We believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, great. Just explain the hands for us. Explain the reasoning behind the hands. That's all we're interested in right now.
What it says in the Quran and the Sunnah without ta'wil, misrepresentation, or tamthil, likening Allah to his creation, and without any tahrif, distortion of the meaning, or ta'til, denying the names and attributes. Anyone who denies the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah, is a kafir, disbeliever. So
anyone who rejects Allah's attributes in the Quran is a kafir, a disbeliever. And keep in mind, he's talking about his interpretation of Allah's attributes as Allah having actual hands and so on. I think he's going to explain the reasoning here.
how can a disbeliever also be considered a muwahhid? It doesn't make any sense. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has 2 hands, 2 real hands. And if
2 real hands, did you catch that? I'm just saying this because it's standard. Anytime you hear a Salafi who's challenged on Allah's actual body parts, the clearest explanation, the clearest defense you have of this is the hands of Allah. And it's the clearest explanation of why, it's the clearest example of why they would not interpret it as metaphorical.
موحد. It doesn't make any sense. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has two hands, two real hands. And
Real
if
hands.
hand means power, then we Muslims will be in a big trouble.
Did you catch that? So he's responding to the idea that when Allah refers to his hands, it's just a metaphor for power. And he says, no, Allah has two hands, two real hands. And he says, if it's just a metaphor for power, we're in trouble. He's going to explain why. He's going to explain why you can't go the metaphor route. I'd be interested in hearing a Muslim who doesn't take this view explain how to interpret what I'm assuming he's going to break down right here. How do you interpret this? Because it is a serious problem. Let's check this out.
Does it make any sense? Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has two hands, two real hands. And if hand means power, then we Muslims will be in a big trouble. Allah asked, O Iblis, what prevented you from prostrating to what I created with my own hands? Did you just become proud, or have you always been arrogant? If hands here is just metaphorical and doesn't actually mean real hands and means power, then Iblis can turn around and say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but you also created me by your power just like Adam. Did you see the problem? Allah
Yes. Again, that's the standard Salafi explanation for why you don't take these things as metaphors. So, guys, we'll watch that little part again, because if you don't pay any attention to any of this, in other words, if you're not going to remember all this stuff, what you want to take away is there are certain groups of Muslims who believe that Allah has actual, real body parts, and they won't say beyond which body parts Allah and Muhammad have specifically declared. So they'll just say those. But the other thing is they have arguments. They actually have arguments for why they don't interpret these things metaphorically. So if you were reading a passage in the Bible or in the Quran or whatever, and you saw God saying, and I created all this with my hands, it would be pretty natural not to interpret that as literally. You'd interpret hands. I created this with my hands as like a metaphor for his power. If you're talking about, and Allah looks at the world with his eyes, you might look at that and say, I don't think he's talking about literal eyes. It's talking about his like knowledge or something like that. There's a reason that doesn't work with certain passages. There's a reason you don't go with the metaphorical interpretation. So Allah, after creating Adam, Allah creates Adam and then orders the angels and the jinn and so on to bow down to what he has created. And Allah asks, hey, why don't you bow down to what I created with my own hands? Right?
Yes.
When Allah says, hey, I created this with my own hands, you'd better bow down to it. He's saying, man is different from other things that I've created because now I created specifically with my own hands. And I'm telling you to bow down to what I've created with my own hands. What Scythe is pointing out is if you interpret hands as a metaphor for power, well, then how would Satan be different from man? How is man different? Allah creates anything with his power. And therefore, if man is somehow different from everything else that Allah has created, and the difference is that Allah created man using his hands. Hands cannot be metaphor for power because then it wouldn't be different from anything else. So when Allah says he created with his hands, and this is what distinguishes man from everything else he's created, it has to mean literal hands. He has to be saying, I literally created this with my own hands. That's why he's special, and that's why I'm telling you to bow down to him. That means that Allah created with his hands, and it means, of course, that Allah has literal hands, hence actual body parts. So we'll just back it up slightly, and you can see that. What's up?
I'm just imagining Allah saying in the Quran, I literally created this with my own hands, as you just said.
That's what he does. That's what he did. That's what they do.
I literally just created this with my own hands.
Muslims will be in a big trouble. Allah asked, O Iblis, what prevented you from prostrating to what I created with my own hands? Did you just become proud, or have you always been arrogant? If hands here is just metaphorical and doesn't actually mean real hands and means power, then Iblis can turn around and say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but you also created me by your power just like Adam. Did you see the problem? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored our beloved Prophet Adam alayhi salam by creating him with his own hands. And this is the correct understanding. And the word used for hands in Arabic in the Quran is yaday. And it's in the
Yadayhi, as in mabayna yadayhi.
Mutanna form, meaning two hands. So does that mean Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam alayhi salam with his two powers? I'm sorry, but this misguided understanding.
There you go. And so when it says his two hands, does that mean his two powers? He got two different powers? Actually making... Again, I'd be interested in how other Muslims respond to this.
Meaning two hands. So does that mean Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam alayhi salam with his two powers? I'm sorry, but this misguided understanding doesn't make any sense. Alhamdulillah for the Sunnah. That's why learning the correct Aqidah is essential before calling anybody to Islam. Let's now go and give our Muslim champion the chance to demolish the arguments of every single Christian who lies about Islam and the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay, so he just said they're the Muslim champion. Again, I blurred out the faces because it's a little kid, two little kids here. So far, all he's done is agree with Sam Shamoun. Everything Sam said, he said, so all he said is, well, Sam said, I don't want to misrepresent you, so I wouldn't say you say body parts. It's clear they're talking about body parts, but they call it attributes. That's all Sam said. So he said, he's contradicting himself, haha. Okay, apart from that nonsense, then Sam said loins, and Scythe's response was, there's multiple translations of that. Apart from that, he has agreed with every word Sam said about Allah's body parts, Allah having actual, real body parts. Scythe has agreed with everything. In other words, he's playing this clip, complaining about it, and agreeing with everything that Sam has said. And so now we're getting into the refutation. He's been boosting this kid from the very beginning of the video, and then throughout he's boosted this kid's response as this kid's going to refute everything. This kid's going to refute everything and really put the unbelievers in their place. So we're going to check out this kid's response because I don't think it's as powerful as Scythe thinks it is, and I don't think you guys will either. Take a couple of super chats real quick and then jump right back into this. Cam says, Sam, Jesus is God. Scythe talk. I'll prove Sam wrong. Jesus is God. Okay, so Sam says, Jesus is God. Scythe talk. I'll prove Sam wrong. Jesus is God. That is how he would work. Isn't that funny? There is this tendency. It's like Muhammad Hijab when I said, hey, according to the Quran, Allah prays for Muhammad. He goes, I'll give you an epic lesson. It's not to Muhammad, it's for Muhammad, which is exactly what I said. As long as you sound like you're responding, they think you're responding, even if you're agreeing completely. Now you have an entire video where, I agree, Sam Shamoun is 100% correct. He is 100% correct. Everything he says is correct. Ha ha! And the followers go, wow, what a brilliant refutation of Sam Shamoun. What is this religion, man? It's all your voice. That's why we keep making fun of the voice, guy. It's all in how you say it. It doesn't matter what you're saying. If you sound like you're schooling someone, they think you are schooling them. And it doesn't matter what words you're actually saying. Isn't he committing shirk by giving visual representation of Allah? Wait, did he do that?
Yes.
Answer truthfully. Did he do that?
No.
I don't remember. I wasn't really paying. I wasn't really glancing at the screen the entire time. Let me see. Visual. Do you mean as far as like mentally, if you're saying eyes and legs and so on, that would be a visual representation? That can't be shirk because that's all over the Muslim sources. So they would have a problem with you drawing it, but not talking about it or visualizing it. They'd say they have a problem with visualizing it, but you can't help it if you're saying it. So how could Satan confuse Adam with Allah if he's not like any beings and if he has two right hands? The stupidity of Islam is insane. That is an ongoing problem in that you'll have all these things. Allah is not like anything else. And then he starts sounding quite a bit like other things. Allah is the tightest leather straps. Trust me, bro. Allah, fractured but whole. Hint, South Park. Don't know what that's talking about. Fractured but whole. Rosenqua. Maybe Allah does. He could have a son with a mate. Oh, if Allah has loins. Yeah, possible. Or balls. D. Wood, which comment do you see more? Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, Sky Daddy, or before watching this, I was a Muslim, and now after watching, I'm a stronger Muslim. It kind of depends on what videos you're paying attention to. In other words, each one of these you will find, if you want to go under certain videos, you will find these thousands and both of these thousands and thousands and thousands of times. If anyone has some way to research all of them, we can find out what's more common. When segment on Surah Maryam, 1933 AP.
What?
You've been talking about doing a segment on Surah 19, verse 33?
The one about the thing?
Yeah, that's the peace be on me and the day I think that's the one. Peace be on me, the day I was born, the day I die, and the day that I'll be raised. Is that the one? 1933?
Did I say I would do that?
I don't know. Did you?
I don't think I did. Because I usually leave that to you and others to talk about that.
Yeah, he does. Did you say you would do that and didn't follow through?
I don't think so.
Imagine that. Okay, he doesn't remember.
Did you say to the people, I will make this video, and I will say, no, I would never say that.
Find the clip and expose him, Nadim. If he said he was going to do something and didn't do it, by golly, he's in trouble. AP, komm zurück. Wir brauchen dich in Deutschland.
It's too late for them, man.
Yeah, he can just make videos. I truly believe the UN leaders just realized as of late that 1948 was a mistake and are trying to rectify it. By the way, D. Wood, about us listening to them, we either die or listen, so come visit again, though. We either die or listen, so come visit again, though. I don't know. You guys haven't been bossing you around quite a bit, and I think you have a good track record of saying, no, I'm not going to listen to you right now. I hate vegetables. Yeah, you ain't the only one. Sorgo says, kind of feel bad for Hez, to be honest. Bells blown off is pretty harsh, as a guy can relate. Oh, it's harsh. It's harsh.
What that super chat was saying is we either listen to the UN. No.
That's what I mean. It says listen to the UN or die. But if you don't listen to the UN.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can relate too to not wanting to get balls blown off. But don't mess with. That's the takeaway. Don't mess with people who are smart enough to know how to blow your balls off from a long way away. When I see Scythe's chin, I think of Balzac. Will Muhammad get a page in the next Boom Boom Room? I don't know. You mean a pager? Will Muhammad get a pager? We got to do something in the Boom Boom Room with the pagers. And my new pager. This message brought to you by whatever the brand of the pagers were, and it blows up at the end, or maybe it blows up before the boom. Before he.
That would be funny. Which would be the one episode where he actually is not in charge of blowing it up, and he accidentally is blown up by a pager. So what
if he's there with a Jew? An Israeli Jew, and he's about to blow him up, and the guy blows his nuts off.
Well, and the Jew says, "You should probably check your pager."
Oh, hang on, I'm getting a page. We'll have to think about it. Let's see. I found Minge to be a spunky defender of. That's pretty messed up, man. Shocked and offended, Jizya from UK. Shocked and offended, yes. Everything is shocking and offending. What do you guys have against salad feet Muslims? Yes, we have no problems with salad feet. Salad feet. Not only does Allah mention his own hands, but also Muhammad said they are cold. He felt Allah's chilly fingers between his shoulders. Yeah, there's that hadith where Allah puts his hand on the back of Muhammad, and he says he actually felt it, and he felt the coolness and so on. So Allah has chilly fingers, chilly hands. He needs to warm those up a bit. He needs to warm those up a bit before putting his hands all over Muhammad. And Muhammad knows. He says, hey, Allah, you need to be more like Diha al-Kalbi. He goes like this before he grabs me. He goes, and then he grabs me. But Allah, no, he just puts his cold hand. Pretty rude, pretty rude, pretty rude. All right, guys, now let's go ahead and check out this kid's refutation. You'll recall, Scythe has been promised throughout the video that this kid is going to destroy, I mean destroy, all these claims of the kuffar. And here's my prediction, ladies and gentlemen. Here's my prediction. Again, it's all about like the sound of your voice. If you say this is a decisive refutation, it doesn't matter what the actual content is. It doesn't matter what the actual content is. If you sound confident, your followers believe that you must be speaking the truth. This is just what Islam does. But here you have the decisive refutation.
من ربك؟
الله.
ما دينك؟
الإسلام.
من نبيك؟
محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
ما كتابك؟
القرآن.
أين الله؟
في السماء واستوى على العرش.
ما الدليل على ذلك؟
الرحمن على العرش استوى.
ما معنى استوى؟
أي علا وارتفع.
ما أعظم عبادة؟
التوحيد.
ما معنى التوحيد؟
You seeing any arguments or evidence here, AP?
Nope.
I see a kid who has been forced to memorize responses to a bunch of questions where he's just saying what Salafis say. And he's being programmed from a very young age. Guys, I do not see any sort of refutation. What was Sam's entire... Again, guys, what was Sam's entire point? Hey, Allah has an actual body according to you guys. If he has a body, then there's space in which he exists. So Allah is not the only eternal thing. You're dealing with other eternal things in Islam. So why don't you explain those for us? Scythe went ahead and agreed with all that Allah has all the body parts, never responded to the point about, wait a minute, then Allah must be, if he's embodied, then he must exist in space somewhere. Never responded to any of that. And then he promises that this kid who's just running through basic Salafi creed is somehow refuting the kuffar. But we'll let this kid continue.
لا إله إفراد الله بالعبادة.
ما أعظم معصية؟
الشرك.
ما هو الشرك؟
عبادة غير الله مع الله.
ما هي كلمة التوحيد؟
لا إله إلا الله.
ما معنى لا إله إلا الله؟
لا معبود بحق إلا الله.
لماذا خلقنا الله؟
نعبده وحده لا شريك له.
كم عدد أركان الإسلام؟
5.
ما هي؟
شهادة أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله، إقام الصلاة وإيتاء الزكاة وحج البيت ما استطاع إليه سبيلا وصوم رمضان.
So just went through the 5 pillars of Islam. And now we have, does Allah have names and attributes? I'm guessing the answer is going to be a yeah.
لله أسماء وصفات؟
نعم.
هل أسماء الله وصفاته تشبه أسماءنا وصفاتنا؟
لا.
ما الدليل على ذلك؟
ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير.
Whenever you read
That was the refutation. Guys, these are the guys that we're actually like arguing with, like trying to say, okay, what's your evidence for this? Like, what do you actually do when someone's like, I will just have a kid say a bunch of stuff that we told him to memorize that doesn't give one single argument for anything. He just says a bunch of stuff. This is the proof and the refutation. And you look at Scythe's followers and they'll go, Alhamdulillah, so clear. How can anyone reject this proof? The proof. It's the proof. What do you do when someone has been brainwashed and conditioned to just accept the tone of your voice as decisive proof? Like, what do you do? I think AP's about to give I think AP sounds like he's about to give a decisive argument for some position. AP?
Yes.
Do you have a decisive proof of anything? It looks like you're gearing up to prove that you are correct.
What do you mean, proof? We don't need proof. All we need is to say we believe in Allah. Allah has attributes. It says so in the Quran. And if you don't believe it, and you're a kafir, This is the proof that is true. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. You see, the kuffar cannot answer us. You see the power of Islam, Alhamdulillah. David Wood is crying right now. David Wood is crying. He has been debunked and refuted and destroyed and humiliated. Alhamdulillah.
That's all it takes, isn't it?
Free PlayStation! Free PlayStation!
I mean, think about it. You could take a kid and have him memorize anything. You could have taken that same kid and made him listen to a Katy Perry song and just recite all the lyrics.
Katy Perry is haram.
What would making a kid memorize some Katy Perry lyrics have to do with something being true? How would that be a refutation? I mean, just imagine it like, some people say that Taylor Swift is better than Katy Perry, but listen to this. We will have the proof right here in this video. We have the proof. Now, are you ready? And then you have a kid recite some Katy Perry lyrics. He has destroyed the people who say that Taylor Swift is better than Katy Perry. Alhamdulillah. This is the proof. What is this religion, man? Like, what is this religion that does this, man? Anyway.
Katy Perry is not better. Only better if she accepts and embraces Islam, Alhamdulillah. Or I could also live with, when we fight the kuffar, taking her. I cannot speak further about this.
Ah, boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. A couple of super chats here, and then we'll see where. Then we'll let Scythe Talk wrap up his case built on a kid being forced to memorize Salafi propaganda. David, I found a video of you.
Deny that Allah has testicles. Continue. Sorry.
David, I found a video of you live streaming with Mike Winger. Care to explain? That's probably some weird AI nonsense. If Allah has real hands, wouldn't that make the deity subject to the material world? That's the point. And the point is a bit more drawn out. Is, hey, you guys complain about the Trinity, you complain about the incarnation. And your main overall argument is, oh, look, Trinity and incarnation, so hard to understand. In Islam, things are easy to understand. So convert to Islam because Allah is really way easier to understand. And it's like, why don't you tell people what you actually believe about Allah? Because it's massively more confusing than what you're saying. Yeah, and it does get pointed out, hey, wait, if he has real hands, real body parts and so on, then he exists in space. And so what is got to be what is he? Is he just alone hovering in space, or is there other stuff there? He's got his throne. What else? That's kind of the point. So yeah. And Scythe just agreed with all of it. Yes, Allah has a body. Yes, this is true. Yes, and didn't actually respond to the point being made. Instead, he had a kid take over, and the kid didn't respond to it either. What's that?
Stören Ungeheuer in the chat said, can anyone imagine any song title of this Taylor Swift person? Excuse me, have you never heard of the song Shake It Off? Or you say Shake It Off. Shake It Off. Beautiful song. Powerful. Hey guys, what's the context of the hijab soundbites? I'm curious about urinating upon one another. Intellectually molested! And isn't there one where he screams something in Arabic? All right, AP, what's the context? What's the context of urinating upon one another? That's from a video that is now deleted that Muhammad Hijab published a long time ago, several years ago, where he, after the day that he joined David and me live in the chat during our live stream and started typing very, very weird things like golden shower, how about urinate on each other, and all that, he made a video to explain himself the next day, where he was talking about how, without Islam, they have no morality and everything is the same. Everything is the same to them, which doesn't even make sense considering that David is a Christian. Did not agree with me on my moral perspective then So, but he was explaining himself then, and he was saying, "So yeah, I will to point out their hypocrisy. I was saying things like, suggesting to them to engage in some kind of sexual activity, like urinating upon one another. That's what they do." So basically, that's the context. The video is deleted. He deleted it like a few days after he published it, maybe even the same day or the next day. But I downloaded it and have it.
What about the intellectually molested? Intellectually molested? What was that?
Oh, that was when he was responding to Ayan Hirsi Ali. He was saying, "Are you sick?"
That's what I thought that was right here.
That's when she said when she praised Israel as the only free country and democracy in the Middle East. He got really mad about that. He was like, "Are you sick in the mind? Are you that mentally enslaved and intellectually subservient and intellectually molested and ideologically molested?" That's what he said. Yeah.
That was actually funny because that was the one where he tried to use some like thesaurus word and he used it incorrectly, and Michaela Peterson started laughing at him not knowing how to use a word. She's like, let's see. No wonder Islam uses violence. They got nothing except kids being compelled to memorize stuff that they got from Farfor, the terror mouse.
If don't use violence. Violence is haram. It's instrument. We don't use instruments.
If he has parts, Momo gets 5% off his booty.
Based.
Can you explain science of Sunan An-Nasai 670? Yes, that is a very easy one. It was narrated from Abu Hurairah that the Prophet said, "When the call for prayer is given, the shaitan takes to his heels, passing wind loudly, so that he will not hear the call to prayer. When the call to prayer is finished, he comes back." So now you know. Satan.
What's the problem?
Satan farts when he hears the sound of the call to prayer. That's what he does. That's what they do.
Everybody farts. Satan farts when he hears the call to prayer.
Farting and running. That's what they do. Farting and running from the call, hearing the call to prayer. This is what we just talked about this yesterday when we were on there. It's like, and this ties into what we've said here, that Muslims have this idea of Allah, but you read the sources and it sounds like something that like 4 and 5 year olds will come up. Satan sleeps in your nose. No, Satan peed in your ear. No, Satan farts when he hears the call to prayer. And it's like, it sounds like it was made for little kids. And this is stuff that's coming from Muhammad.
Yeah.
At this point, Muslims are purposely...
We don't know if it's... we also don't know if... But when it talks about farting, we don't know if it is loud or if you can hear it visibly. Yeah. Or if... not visibly.
But remember, audibly. Satan's farts are not like our farts.
And whoever says otherwise is like...
Look, I will get this little kid. And our Satan's farts like our farts. La.
Yeah.
Scythe is wild. Bro talks like he's making an impression of himself. That's funny. They make an impression of himself. Actually, Fred K says, at this point, Muslims are purposely not seeing it. Yeah, there gets to a point where you make your point. Okay, wait, Allah has body parts, so he exists in space. How do you explain this? How do you have a problem with the incarnation if you believe in a God who's always had a body? Explain this stuff. Explain yourself. They don't get it, and they pretend to refute stuff, and then they move on. Mike Winger and David Wood friends. I'm a tell, lol, joke, love y'all. If by friends you mean mortal enemies, then I agree.
That's what friends
means. Why are Muslims so spiritually blinded?
That's pretty racist.
It is. Don't talk about Muslims in general. It's very rude. Made a song about Nick Frito. YouTube removed it for saying Nick finds nothing wrong with the Holocaust. Thanks, YouTube. Put it on Twitter. They're not going to ban it on Twitter. All right, let's let Scythe here finish
anything about the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just remember this beautiful verse. There is nothing like him, for he alone is the all-hearing, all-seeing. Subhanallah.
By the way, guys, this is the insane hypocrisy here. You say, hey, God is a Trinity. Oh, it sounds so confusing. I look around, I don't see Trinities around. So what? How does this make no sense? and then you run through all of Allah's body parts. They'll agree with all of them. You ask, hey, how's Allah how's Allah exist? He must exist in space and so on. And it's just that we're just saying it's not like anything else. There's like nothing else. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. You can't understand it. You can't. So at the end of the day, you affirm that Allah has all these body parts, but that you can't understand them. And then if you're going to the Trinity, it's, we want incredibly intricate detail of explaining exactly how this is. Okay, why don't you explain? We don't know. This is insane, man. This is insane. And they don't get it. And
we do not talk about it.
And he literally started off by calling Sam Shamoun a hypocrite.
Beautiful Muslim kid has a purer aqidah than any of those who claim to be Muslims and debate Christians and give dawah, yet they are lost in philosophy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from such misguidance.
He's just criticizing Muslim debaters who debate and aren't giving the Salafi the Salafi spin on everything.
He just insulted Daniel, the pedophile, and the other little goblin guy. So this is very, very messed up, man. Why is he attacking Muslims like this?
Yep, and he's saying that kid would do a better job. Hey, Scythe, if you want to bring that kid on for a debate, it could be you, and the kid says, I mean, keep in mind, it wouldn't cross my mind to think like this kid's going to do a great job in debate. You're putting him forward as this champion who's destroying everything and would do a better job than your actual debaters. You can come on with that kid and anyone else you want on the planet, and we can discuss this stuff, and we have some questions that you can clarify for us.
And keep us upon the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam according to the understanding of the Salaf. And subhanallah, this is exactly what happened during the recent debate of Brother Muhammad. Made one Christian quit and made the other
made a Christian quit.
Are you freaking kidding me, man?
That was the one where Andrew Wilson proved that Muhammad's member would be less than 2 inches long if he didn't damage Aisha, and then they ended up calling it off because they couldn't agree on rules anymore. You see, this is the decisive refutation.
So I must correct myself on that. I said I was pointing out that Andrew Wilson apparently quit the debate.
Yeah, because we didn't actually. People had said that. People had said that, so we took it. But yeah, we got corrected. People corrected us in the chat, and people corrected us in the comments. And then Andrew pointed out too. He said, "I didn't quit. We couldn't agree on the rules, so we called it off." Or they told him to get off or something.
On Twitter, he said he didn't quit. He was removed basically from there. So just want to clarify that. That was a mistake on my part or our part. We didn't know. But that said, that debate was a disaster. Just that debate itself was a disaster. It made the Muslim side look completely ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But here you can see how Muslims see the issue completely differently. They really think they made a good point here with this debate. They live in a different world.
Yeah, and it's amazing. But thanks for helping us out, guys, and thanks for the cosign. It is always amazing that you'll sit here and say, "Hey, guys," because again, Dawah has shifted from trying to persuade non-Muslims to trying to impress the your own Muslim followers, and you don't realize what you sound like to other people. If I come up and I say, "Hey, do you know Allah has real body parts?" People go, "Come on, you're crazy, man. You know what you're talking about." When they hear Scythe saying it, "Of course he has body parts. Yes, he has hands. Real hands. He has real hands." They're like, "Whoa, what? They didn't tell me that. These Dawah guys didn't tell me that. They were telling me Allah is completely different. Oh, the Trinity's so confusing and Allah is so easy to understand. And he's this great all-powerful deity and so on." You're like, "Oh, okay, wow, that sounds good." And then you find out, wait, he's like a monster? He's like a gremlin walking around. He's hobbling around. Looks like a mermaid. He's got one leg but 2 feet sticking out of it and so on. And then 2 hands on one side and nothing on the other. Like a monster, man. Anyway.
You're making no sense. You're arguing like children.
Like a joke.
To say that we say that Allah is not like anyone and we have an attribute, he has an attribute, therefore he is like us. No, we believe, for instance, our knowledge is limited, is dependent on Allah. We don't know the future. We forget the knowledge of Allah is ultimate. He knows the past, present, and future. He knows hypothetical situations. So it's not the same. So when we say it's not like it, then it is not like it because God's knowledge is perfect and our knowledge is limited. And that is the same with all of the attributes of God. The way Allah possesses them is perfect. The way we possess them is not. An attribute is something that does not exist in abstract, it exists within something, and that something remains one. Nobody says that having attributes makes you more than one. I have love, compassion, hate, fear, all of that. No one says, therefore, I'm 100 or 200 because I have different attributes.
10 seconds.
That's just ridiculous.
May Allah
Did anybody listen to that and think, oh, okay, good point.
Just Scythe. It's the same thing. Say a bunch of words, and your followers who are just paying attention to whether you sound confident or not will think you made a decisive point. All he said there is, yes, he has attributes. It doesn't mean he's made up of parts or something like this. So Muslim lantern. You're ignoring the problem. If you're talking about attributes the way we normally think about them, then you have Allah's attributes being in conflict. His mercy triumphs over his wrath. That means he's got multiple attributes and they're in actual competition. If you say that the Trinity means the Trinity would entail there has to be more than one God, okay, why wouldn't Allah's attributes mean that there has to be more than one? That's the point. We don't believe that having multiple attributes would mean that there has to be more than one being. You can be one on the level of being, more than one on the level of attribute. Christians believe that God is one in being, but more than one on the level of person. You say, no, if you're more than one in this way, then you can't be one in this way. Okay, well, applying that to Allah's attributes, again, just normal attributes like justice and mercy and so on, why would Allah being more than one on the level of attribute mean that he has to be more than one on the level of essence or being? That's your guys claiming that. If you're more than one in one way, you can't be one. You can't be one in a different way. That's just talking about attributes like justice and so on. If you're talking about Allah's physical body parts, his physical body parts with two hands in this and that, now you've got a God who is made up of parts. He's made up of a bunch of parts. Is one of Allah's right hands the same as his other right hand? No, they're two different things. So I don't know. I don't know what you do. But I don't think you're being consistent here.
Bless brother Muhammad Ali. He did an amazing job during both the debates.
Muslim Lantern's name is Muhammad Ali, and he goes by Muslim Lantern.
This on my X account. I just watched brother Muhammad destroy two Christians back to back. Why did he win? Simply because he refused to engage in philosophical mambo jumbo and kept
mambo jumbo
and sunnah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him for his amazing work and bless his dawah.
So guys, if you want, I don't know who works with who a lot of times. I don't know who's partners with who, but apparently this guy really likes Muslim Lantern and wants to get his attention and so on. But my goodness, if Muslim Lantern and his epic debate allowing someone to build a case that Muhammad has a 1.8-inch penis. If that's your hero, yeah, I'll agree with you. Yeah, guys, keep getting Muslim Lantern to debate these pressing issues about the size of Muhammad's penis. Great job. You guys are doing a bang-up job here.
This is how we Muslims win every single debate.
This is how you win.
Confirm what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala confirmed
That's how you win
about
debates.
himself, and we don't care if the non-Muslims accept it or not.
He just said it. We don't care. We do not care if they accept it. We say what's impresses our own people here.
Debaters struggle to form a coherent, concise answer to any of your questions. Brother Mashallah, explanations can be put to it and they understand perfectly. Great. Jazakallah khair. Barakallah fiqh. This is the thing. It's about making it simple because the truth is simple. And they hate simplicity. They just want to make rhetoric, philosophical rhetoric, just some nonsense, and then try to avoid the truth and answering and responding to simple questions.
This is what they're trying to do. Yeah, this is what they're trying to do. To this day, Muslim Lantern, Scythe, all you guys, I'm being completely straightforward right now. I literally have no clue whatsoever why you think non-Muslims should convert to Islam. I literally no idea why you think we should believe that Muhammad's a prophet. I have no idea why you believe that we should be convinced that the Quran is the word of Allah. These are the sorts of debates. Hey, if you think Islam is true, why do you think it's true? Why should we think that it's true? It seems like you have to make an argument that Muhammad is a true prophet. You have to make an argument that the Quran is the word of God. All the arguments that you guys gave for the past couple decades have turned out to be completely bogus, have now been exposed. And all you guys want to do now is make fun of the Trinity and start getting a little kid to recite some stuff. What is your evidence? I have no clue. Zero. Like, I'm dead serious. I have no idea what your guys' arguments are anymore. And you won't tell us what a case for Islam even looks like anymore, because you know the moment you say, here's the proof of Islam, it will get ripped to shreds because now people are on to you. So what do you do? What are you doing with the Dawah? Give us an argument. Give us an argument. But look, here is a picture unfolding, and they're too stupid to pay attention to all I'm doing is putting a picture unfolding. Now listen to this kid. Ah, yes, he said what the 5 pillars are, even though you all know what the 5 pillars are. You see, this is the proof. What is this, man? You guys don't even have smoke and mirrors anymore. You just have, I don't even know what to do, man. This is a joke.
This guy just reiterated all the huge problems, the theological problems of Islam in the Islamic history of defining, of how to understand Allah's attributes, over which Muslims killed and purged each other in the past. And then he actually, going by that tradition, declares that those who disagree with his description of Allah's attributes are kafir, are disbelievers. And then he actually seriously goes on to claim that Islam is just, simple, unlike Christianity, for example. Okay, man.
Wild stuff. Wild stuff going on. All right, let's let I don't know where he's going with any of this.
Because people get lost in the details, and that's what they want. They want to confuse the audience in the details.
I advise any Muslim...
They want to confuse the audience with the details. And then what happens in a debate on the Trinity? You try to confuse everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Watching this video to learn his religion and the correct aqidah before arguing or debating with any non-Muslim online or in real life. Learning the basics of Tawheed is essential, because without knowledge, you may end up rejecting something during a debate that is part of the religion unknowingly, or uttering statements of kufr without realizing it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from all forms of misguidance. I hope
All right, guys, and that's he's actually making an important point there. You got all these Muslim debaters run out and they'll deny and affirm. I mean, it's a way bigger issue in like the comments section. You could say something about Islam that's directly from the Quran. Muslims say, "You liar, you're lying. That's not true." And so he's saying, "Hey, learn your stuff before you start affirming and denying things, because you might end up affirming things that are not true according to Islam, and you might end up denying things that are true according to Islam." And so. Yep. Important to keep in mind. So that was, anyway, guys.
You shouldn't drown in the Nile.
This is the serious takeaway. So his fans watching that. If you asked his fans, what did he do there? He destroyed them. He destroyed the Kuffar. He destroyed Sam Shamul. He humiliated him. And if you said, okay, how? Explain to me what you think his greatest point was. They would have no clue.
I don't have to explain to you. I will just say,
you're filthy kafir. Yeah, so they're just, but I don't know. I heard the tone of his voice. It was so strong. That's all they're listening to. Meanwhile, anyone else who's watching, what important, apart from things that would agree with us, namely he confirmed exactly what Sam was saying. Apart from that, apart from actually supporting what we claim and exposing Islam for the confusing mess that it is, what did he actually accomplish for his position? Nothing. And guess what? That's Dawah. What you just saw, that's Dawah. Say a bunch of stuff, pretend you made some great case, and move on. And your followers are so dumb because you've been conditioning them from the time they were little kids to mindlessly accept all that. And look what you do. You get your kids, memorize these list of things. I'm going to drill this into you. And then you can recite it, and then you program them. Yes, you just mindlessly recite what you are told your entire life. And then they grow up to be Dawah fans who listen to Scythe talk and go, oh, so powerful, so powerful. He's saying exactly what I believe because that's what I was programmed to think my entire life. Fun times. All right, last couple super chats, and then we'll be out. Scythe looks like an NPC shop vendor selling potions. I wasn't going to laugh at first, except the selling potions. I'm familiar with the selling potions even from video games when I was a kid. I never played like most modern video games, but I remember the potion shops.
I can understand.
Hey, we have Caveman Philosopher here. Scythe strong brain, you weak brain. He make a good point. Me strong than you. Oh, Mrs. Wood, what you achieve. That's Dawah in a nutshell as well. How many pistol squats can Allah do? 72. Oh, that's the one. That's the one where you got one leg and you. Yeah. Sheila says, but how does Allah descend from his throne to the lowest heaven without moving? I hope Scythe tells us, since Jake, the Muslim metaphysician, failed to. I think Scythe would just say, but we don't know because his movement isn't like our movement. And look, here is a 5-year-old who is saying, hey, 5-year-old, say something. Allah's movement's not like ours. You see? Now you've been refuted.
It is, Scythe will firmly hold on to the position that is known as Billah Kaif, which is do not ask how. So we believe in exactly what is written, and we do not further speculate, and we do not further ask how. That's the doctrine. And that came into existence in response to those who engaged in philosophy.
Yeah, we don't know how.
Yeah. We don't know. Don't know.
AP, will you sing Khaybar Khaybar Yahya Hood except replace David Wood for Yahya Hood? Also, please brandish the Saifullah.
Khaybar Khaybar
No,
Khaybar David Wood. That's good.
There you
That's
have it.
good.
You've also been asked to brandish the Saifullah.
Oh yeah, I will.
Going to be powerful.
I will do that.
He's going to do it.
Gonna do it tomorrow.
Cam says, Mike Winger, like Muslim Lantern, you mean Green Lantern, probably watching that movie now. Even Riled Reynolds hates that movie, inshallah. He's got a good point. If you were to ask, what's Mike Winger doing right at this moment if he's not online, it would be probably watching Green Lantern. As someone once said, Delulu is not the Salulu. That's a good point.
That's a good point.
And this is why they use violence. Yeah, guys, at the end of the day, Islam spread through violence. It didn't spread by having powerful arguments and so on. And so you get down to once Islam was stopped militarily, and once the caliphate collapsed, that's when their focused their attention shifted towards, we'll do dawah. Only problem is they used tons and tons of lies because they didn't have any actual case for Islam. So they made up a bunch of lies. Now their lies are falling apart, and they're not sure what to do next. They can't conquer you militarily, and their arguments just suck. And so that's the awkward position they have to be in right now. And finally, D. Wood and AP, have you heard the early church father Irenaeus talk about how Jesus came to persuade, not coerce people's salvation? No, but that sounds correct. That sounds correct. All right. What are you doing, man? You keep trying to impress him. Your wife probably gave you that.
No, I actually ordered it because I wanted to
nerd.
look up something.
You ordered a book, nerd. AP keeps getting jealous of all the people with books in the background, so he's built up his book collection over the past few months.
Well, the thing is, I don't know if it's a funny thing, but sometimes I want to look up something from a specific source, from a specific book, and instead of just looking up that specific section, I just order the whole book just to look at one specific section.
You're preaching to the choir. You're preaching to the choir. Even if I'm getting a quote that I found online, lots of times I want to get the book just to make sure it's quoted correctly in context and things like that. And anyway,
I open it, I just check one page and I'm like, okay, good.
Yep. All right, so we'll be live on your channel tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Do you know what we're talking about?
Khaybar David Wood.
Do you want any idea what we're talking about tomorrow?
I'm actually thinking I want to go and have a look at a Piers Morgan conversation again. Those are kind of fun. This time, though, I haven't checked it out, but I'm thinking of Candace Owens with Chunk.
Oh, they were on Pierce, right? I haven't seen it, but they were on Pierce, right?
Talking to the former spokesperson of the IDF.
Oh, that would be interesting.
The guy is pretty based. I haven't checked it out yet. Haven't seen it yet, but I'll have a look, see if we can review that. Would like to review that. Would like to look at that.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. All right, so guys, we might be talking about that tomorrow. A couple last second super chats. Battle belongs to the Lord. We are not fighting. We are not fighting for victory, but from victory. Paraphrasing Warren Wiersbe's, we'll keep praying for the unbelievers, those that don't believe and trust Jesus. God bless you, D Wood and AP. Yeah, I remember Warren Wiersbe. He had the B series. There's a play on his last name.
Shout out to Warren G. Yeah.
Did Muhammad Hijab do a poll for Muslims asking what gives them most doubts? Yes. Can you pull up, please? Have to show my Muslim friend. Love the work, guys. I don't have that handy. I know Abdullah Samir has a screenshot of that. It might even still be on YouTube, but this would be from like years ago. But yes, Muhammad Hijab did a poll asking Muslims, hey, when you doubt Islam, what causes it? And it was very interesting. I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I got to find I got to find that. I'm sure it's somewhere, but I mean, if not, I'll ask Abdullah for it, because that is an important poll. Very enlightening. It's basically a roadmap. It's a roadmap. People saying, "Hey, these are the things that cause us to doubt Islam. These are the things that cause us to doubt Islam," and he just gave us the list. He gave us a list of the things that most cause Muslims to. So now you know what to focus on. All right, you've got that, AP. How about you bring it up tomorrow during a live stream, and we mentioned it a few times. That's very super based stuff. Let's see, last couple here. Minahill. Oh, who was that? Nisa Sonic gifted 10 Apologetics Roadshow memberships. Yeah, guys, again, I recorded a video that I was thinking about putting up Monday, but I'll probably put it up sometime tomorrow, like around noon or something like that. But when I finish editing tonight, for those of you who stay up really late and stuff like that, check back in a couple of hours. Check back in a couple of hours, and there will be a video up that you can check out a bit early. Let's see, that's pair character. Oh, super sticker, and another super sticker. And then Pamela, sorry, I meant D Wood and AP. God bless you both. No need for apologies. You could call D Wood and AP, whatever you want. Sorry, I meant D Wood and AP.
No problem at all.
No problem at all. All right, guys, we will catch you all tomorrow. New video tomorrow, and then dope live stream on AP's channel. It'll be super awesome.
Have some guts, be a man. I was just thinking, for some reason, somebody said "be a man," and then I was thinking of that clip of Muhammad Hijab saying "have some guts, be a man," and thinking that could be reconstructed to turn it into an LGBTQ thing, where instructing somebody to transition to becoming a man or something.
And for anyone who's interested in transitioning, be sure to check out my video about Allah tomorrow.
Pronouns we us.
Catch you all then.